Blog Talk Radio.
But we cannot allow anything on this earth to separate us. Our strength is in our unity, and it's the thing that is most dear. You and I be one. We gotta try, unify, or my people die. 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 This picture I'm painting, somebody explain it to me. My sister, my brother is what you've been claiming to be. We fighting, we talking, we living in this life of struggle. The situation got me thinking that we all in trouble. Because we say we love each other, that's a crying shame. And we really hate each other, that's a standing game. And we need to air it out, we need to work it out. Willie Lynchy still exists, we gotta knock him out. Because the situation causes some camaraderie. Don't even fake the funk for others, it don't flatter me. But what my people really need is some true unity. Then we forget a neighborhood, we build communities. And when we really love each other, that's a guarantee. The situation goes from I and goes to you and me. But a jealous African is what I'm trained to be. And that's what happens when you're someone else's property. You see, the European heart is what they gave to me. To really understand and hit and study slavery. My people never want to exercise a memory, so they can understand a psychopath mentality. I like it real, that's why I'm rolling with reality. Kicking the truth about the politics and history. It ain't no mystery. These crackers sold our destiny. And we gon' unify or die on tragedy. You see, it's real life. One lesson to learn. We separated and divided in this world of concern. We gotta live black and think black and see. The only way we really make it is our strength and our unity. Unified die. Since the circle is broken, then we need to reconnect. There is only one solution that can get us out this mess. My people in ICU and we're gasping for breath. Dear Lord, can you save us cause we're facing death? Malcolm told us, my people, about the Black United Front, and Amos Wilson showed us how the struggle could be won. If we don't unify, then our chances are slim. Master self, master health, kill the enemy within. Embrace, hug and love your friend, comrade or kin. Rather east or west coast, like people, we are African. We represent a large global vast community. Survivors for life, unified our philosophy. We backed by the whirlwind, the spirit of God be. Our ancestors can't nobody touch we. Our dignity, our unity is what we got. Stand up, black man, show them what you got. It's real life, one lesson to learn. We separated and divided in this world of concern. We gotta live black and think black and see. The only way we really make it is our strength and our unity.
In these B-more streets, this mad deep. Nicks take snitch, takes cold dope and police. Black and Latins living in the beast. We gotta unify and put the system on one knee. One for all for one. My daughter, your son, my gun, your gun. Busting on these crackers, riding off in the sun. Yo, the saga has only begun. So let's stop acting like a bunch of whores and take it to the government's door. We mean war, a life for a life, until we even the score. Let freedom pour like the blood of our enemies.
Blog Talk Radio.
But we cannot allow anything on this earth to separate us. Our strength is in our unity, and it's the thing that is most dear. You and I be one. We gotta try, unify, or my people die. 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 This picture I'm painting, somebody explain it to me. My sister, my brother is what you've been claiming to be. We fighting, we talking, we living in this life of struggle. The situation got me thinking that we all in trouble. Because we say we love each other, that's a crying shame. And we really hate each other, that's a standing game. And we need to air it out, we need to work it out. Willie Lynch, he still exists, we gotta knock him out. Because the situation causes some camaraderie. Don't even fake the funk for others, it don't flatter me. But what my people really need is some true unity. Then we forget a neighborhood, we build communities. And when we really love each other, that's a guarantee. The situation goes from I and goes to you and me. But a jealous African is what I'm trained to be. And that's what happens when you're someone else's property. You see, the European heart is what they gave to me. To really understand it's hit and study slavery. My people never want to exercise a memory, so they can understand the psychopath mentality. I like it real, that's why I'm rolling with reality. Kicking the truth about the politics and history. It ain't no mystery. These crackers sold our destiny, and we gon' unify or die on strategy.
You see, it's real life. One lesson to learn. We're separated and divided in this world of concern. We gotta live black and think black and see the only way we really make it is our strength and our unity.
Unified die. Since the circle is broken, then we need to reconnect. There is only one solution that can get us out this mess. My people in ICU and we're gasping for breath. Dear Lord, can you save us cause we're facing death? Malcolm told us, my people, about the Black United Front, and Amos Wilson showed us how the struggle could be won. If we don't unify, then our chances are slim. Master self, master health, kill the enemy within. Embrace, hug, and love your friend, comrade, or kin. Rather east or west coast, like people, we are African. We represent a large global vast community. Survivors for life, unified our philosophy. We backed by the whirlwind, the spirit of God be. Our ancestors can't nobody touch we. Our dignity, our unity is what we got. Stand up, black man, show 'em what you got.
It's real life. One lesson to learn. We're separated and divided in this world of concern. We gotta live black and think black and see the only way we really make it is our strength and our unity.
In these B-more streets, this mad deep. Nicks takes snitch, takes cold dope, and police. Black and Latins living in the beast. We gotta unify and put the system on one knee. One for all for one. My daughter, your son, my gun's your gun. Busting on these crackers, riding off in the sun. Yo, the saga has only begun. So let's stop acting like a bunch of whores and take it to the government door. We mean war, a life for a life, until we even the score. Let freedom pour like the blood of our enemy's jaw. We have to break the chains that hold us captive. Politicians, singers, and actors just do can back us. I'm an activist, don't call me a rapper. We wanna make dollars into believers. If you're light skin, dark skin, blood over grip, it's much deeper than your color, your nose, or your lips. It's all about a full clip. These devils will trip when they see the black man. Take them on a physical trip and break them down. Because we run in this town, it's time to bring the revolution from under the ground, y'all.
It's real life. One lesson to learn. We're separated and divided in this world of concern. We gotta live black and think black and see the only way we really make it is our strength and our unity.
We gotta try to unify.
baby, since we've been together. Ooh, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running to. I'll never be untrue. Oh, baby, let's stay together, loving you weather, times are good and bad, happy or sad. Ooh, yeah. Well, the times are good, bad, happy or sad. Why people break up? Oh, turn around and make up. I just can't see you'd never do that to me, would you, baby? Being around you is all I need, is what I want to do. We ought to stay together, loving you weather, times are good, bad, happy or sad. Come on, let's stay together, loving you weather.
Black African Power. Welcome to the Destruction of the Black Civilization Show, the home of the Armor Rock Squad. What's good? What's happening? His brother Unc in the building. God Killer in the house. Doing what we do. Y'all got to remember, a well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. So the show is definitely dedicated to organizing the truth. Yeah. So what's up with y'all out there? One of them days, and we just sitting back and we just chilling. We learning how to study. We putting the information together, and we doing what we supposed to do. We had a real powerful show last week. Had our brother Wesley on. He was in the land of the day, kicking it a little bit. You know, I call it a little bit tomfoolery. You know, he got that gotten Islam thing going, whatever that is. See, if you understand traditional culture, you would truly understand what Mayat was and what it was not. And you would truly understand that you can't even put them two things in the same sentence. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because the very pillars that the three monotheistic religions are built on are based off of destroying African social, spiritual, cultural agreement with nature systems. Yeah, that's what they're based on. Because it clearly says in their text that there will be no God except me. I'm a jealous God this. I'm a jealous God that. I'm your only Savior. I'm your only God. None can be beside me. So if it's saying that, how in the world can you put Mayat and Islam or Christianity together? Remember, their spiritual systems are predicated off of destroying your culture. What is Brother Ugg saying? I am saying for their God to live, your God must die. Let me get to the lines real quick, find out what the rest of the squad is doing. You see where they moving a little bit slow tonight. Got the scientists on. Where you at, Ngozi? Black African Power.
Peace, brother. What's good? Black African Power.
Man, I'm just sitting back chilling. You already know
Yes,
that.
sir.
What's good with you, bro?
Chilling, man. All is well as usual. Ready to do the knowledge.
Yeah. We're going to figure out is my yada religion, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to figure out, you know what I mean, did they practice what they so-called called royal incest in ancient Kemet? We're going to see what that is. We're going to figure that out. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And we're going to figure out how exactly do we attack issues like that. Let me see with the 315. 315, your line is open, Black African Power.
Black African Power, organize that truth. Peace, brother.
Yeah, I'm a Raw Squad Up. What's good, brother Ish?
I'm a Raw Squad Up. It's all good, man. We're doing good, you know?
Hey, man, that was a good look last week, how we put that together. Got to give you a shout-out on that, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very glad Brother Wesley was able to stop through and stuff and share some knowledge and information. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting the slide back through, yo, and we'll ramp up the question a little bit harder next round.
For sure.
Let me get the 347. The young gun. What's good, Harut? What's happening?
What's good? Peace and blessings. I'm chilling, you know, just falling back. I'm on the move. So, you know, I'm just falling back. Just on the move,
right,
man.
All right, man. I feel you. How New York treating you there, bro?
It's good. You know, got me working, got me going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You needed
got you on the move.
Yeah, I feel you with that. All right. Let me get Brother Sanjetti, the linguist. What's good, Dad? What's that noise, Harut? Mute your phone out. Because you're on the move. 215, your line is open. Black African Power.
Peace, everybody. Good evening. This is Sanjetti. How's it going?
What's up, Sanjetti?
Everything's good.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
Well, you all right there, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm just turn my volume up here. Yeah. Everything's good. Just, living, alive. Definitely, honor, respect, libation of, Whitney Houston,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, our sister, she's out of here. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it go. They don't know what quite happened to her, but, man, hate to see, a sister leave like that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I mean? It is what it is. We'll figure out, exactly what happened to the sis, but, man, it's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? She left her family. It's just not a good look, man. So it's clear that we got to make proper life choices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Proper life choices, man. I mean, there's a lot I can say on that situation, man. I've been down that road, you know what I'm saying, of abusing certain things, certain drugs. And, if you don't wake up, you might not wake up. And so it's a very interesting thing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, we're going to have a powerful topic tonight there. I think it needs to be addressed. Specifically when you start to deal with that incest piece. Now, for years, I've heard that the ancient Egyptians, we're talking about African people practicing incest. And I kind of, really wanted to take a real deep look into it. And, the evidence I found was very surprising. Okay? And I know you've been looking at it there, brother Ngozi. Where you at?
I'm right here, bro.
Let me kind of drop this link in the chat room real quick. Let me see if I can find it for y'all real fast. Yeah. All right, I don't know what article do you have on that Ngozi? What you gonna be using?
Well, I'm gonna use the article based off King Tut and his DNA and the disorders that he had. It's an article it's called Unmasked the Real Faces of the Crippled King Tut Ankh-Amun. And it talks about how...
I'm going to put that in the chat room for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can put it in there. But I'm also going to bring up all the dynasties, especially in the 18th dynasty, on how a lot of people in the 18th dynasty was related and how a lot of the children died or had deformities from Utmost all the way down to Tut Ankh-Amun. I'll be breaking that down too and showing what I wrote in the article that I got, and I wrote down all the dynasties and who was the parents and all the way up to Utmost parents and his wife parents and his sister and whatever. He had the same sister. So whatever you bring it up, I'm trying to put this link up. I'm trying to see if my computer let me put the link up.
I put it in there for you already. I know you.
Okay.
Slow,
okay.
Bro.
Cool.
I see that link, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You can go ahead and build off of that, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead. I want you to go first. All right, and then I'm gonna see if we can kind of triangulate and figure out just what's going on. And I see the link. It's a very interesting article. I pulled that article up too. I chose not to use that article though. But go ahead, brother.
It's more than one, but that one good that you got up there too. That one good too. But
you got another one?
It's about 5 or 6 articles. Just not that one, but that one's good too. I'm trying to see if I can send this one through. But what I'm seeing right here from Utmost and his wife, Utmost Nefertari the first, they had the same mother and father. Her father was second Ra Dao the second, and second Dao Ra the second, who was dealing with Ahotep the first, which was his mother and father, had the same mother and father, which was Tesitcheri and Seketekara the first. Dao the first, and then later on you see Utmost the first, who dealt with his sister Utmost Nefertari, who gave birth to Amenhotep the first, 1526 and 1506 BC, and you see Utmost married Amun, and and she died of arthritis and scoliosis as well due to the deformity and the genetic deformity that she had with the ancestry. And then you turn around and she died early. Then you turn around and see the daughter of Queen Ahmose. Now, what broke that DNA pattern or what broke the ancestry was Tutmos. Tutmos the first wasn't from Amenhotep the first lineage. He married his daughter, which was Queen Ahmose. And then Tutmos the first gave birth to Queen Hatshepsut, and also Tutmos the second. And Tutmos the second and Queen Hatshepsut were married, but he also married his other sister, which was Monefret, who gave birth to Tutmos the third, 1466-1412, who also was messing with his half sister cousin, married Hatshepsut the third, and his half cousin Neferu, and they gave birth to Amenhotep the second in 1414, 1388, and he turned around and dealt with Tia, which was the daughter of Tutmos the second, and also Tia or Amenhotep the third. When we get down to Amenhotep the third, who was messing with Tia was his cousin, his first cousin, because Tia was the daughter of Yuya, which was Amenhotep the second wife brother. So Queen T was his cousin. So this is why when you look at Akhenaten, McNaughton had a disorder called Marfan's disorder. And if you look at him, he looked the way he looked. And he also had scoliosis, and he also had a lot of genetic disorder like the rest of the people in that whole 18th dynasty. And then you turn around and see King Tut. Akhenaten, now Nefertiti is not King Tut's mother. King Tut's mother is Kaya. That was his mother. But Kaya was also Akhenaten's sister, a half-sister by another woman that Amenhotep III was dealing with. And this is why you see King Tut with a cane. He looked crippled. And he also got a curve in his back. Why? Because he had scoliosis. He had a clipped lip. If you ever look at his bone structure, he was deformed. He was sickly. So just looking at that whole dynasty, it was a lot of inbred stuff going on. It's crazy, or inbreeding, if you want to say that. Mm. Now we do know in Africa, sister and brother, that's just for a whole village. All through Africa, the whole village is referred to as sister and brother. That's true as well. I'm not knocking that. But for some reason in this 18th dynasty, I don't know if they started declining, because pre-dynastic Egypt didn't do that. And the first dynasty didn't do that. But in this 18th dynasty, when you see Utmost come in and he kick out these Hyksos, I guess they lost their customs and their ways of old Egypt. They had to. For them to be doing something like that, they had to, because for some reason it seemed like they believed that they came from a divine lineage and they was trying to preserve their DNA so they didn't deal with anybody. But while they were doing that, you seen a lot of children that was born deformed. Even King Tut, who was messing with his half-sister, they had 2 children, and those 2 children died at childbirth. They didn't even live that long. Both of them died. So in this dynasty, you see a lot of illnesses going on because of the interbreeding that they was doing.
Did you put that article in the chat room, or you going with the one that's right here?
That one cool too. This one cool too. I'm looking at it. You got this one good too. But I'm trying to put this other one up in there that I got. The unmasking
Put that
piece
other one
that I
up in
got.
there. Put that other one up in there. Because when I looked at this one, I couldn't find no references on that.
Most deaf.
No references whatsoever. All I see is Halaus in a daggone meeting, and we know who he is. Yeah. We know exactly who he is, what game he plays. He deals with the Egyptian iniquities.
I'm trying to put this other one up now.
He's the head Egyptologist. Okay, and they claim to do the DNA evidence. Do you know what they found out when they started to do the DNA evidence? They didn't give you the whole complete thing, right?
Oh, of course they did.
Because they didn't put it all out. You know that, right?
Of course. When it comes to the blood type, when he told you his haplotype was R1b, you find that haplotype in sub-Saharan Africa. A lot of the Hausa people have it. So they just said it was R1b. They didn't insinuate what type of R1b. Caucasians have R1b M269 haplotype. Africans have R1b haplotype V88. That's the African trait that started in Africa and went over there into other parts of the world like Euro-Asian and other parts of Asia, because certain people in southern Asia have R1b M236. But it started in Africa as R1b V88. So, yeah, they didn't tell you a lot of stuff. You know, they brought up how he died from the malaria, an infection that he had in his leg, but they also brought up, based off the tissues that remained, the tissue that they was able to measure from the protein enzymes, is that he had a lot of deformities. And if you ever look at the pictures, it seems reasonable. It makes sense. If you ever look at his pictures, he looks sickly. He had a club foot. He always walking with a cane, and his back was curved over.
So the point I'm making is they didn't put out all the information, because what you'll find is that they started mixing up mummies. People that they said was who they said they were according to the DNA test. Like they were saying certain kings was this and that, but then they had cracked the mummy, right, with the DNA, and they found out that person was way, way younger or way, way older. And so what you find is they mixed everything up. And we know that's just what white people do. They look at our culture and they totally misinterpret what we're doing on a regular basis. They do that today.
Most deaf. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that's what the cracker do. But my thing is that, again, when you look at the deformities that a lot of the people had in the 18th dynasty, it's crazy. And a lot of them had the same.
Are you saying it's from incest?
Yeah, it's from incest. They had the same bone marrow disorders. You find scoliosis. You know, you find Queen Hatshepsut, when they measured the pattern of her DNA structure, she had bone cancer. She had diabetes. Another myth is that a lot of people believe that the Egyptians was vegetarians, and they wasn't. You know, it's depictions of these people eating hyena meat. Some of them even ate pig. Certain priesthood, like me and Brother Sinjeti was talking about, like the priesthood of Basar, they didn't eat that because Set was the pig was a form of Set, so they didn't eat it. But you had some that they ate horrible. You know what I'm saying? They had bad, horrible diets in certain areas. So this 18th dynasty was kind of chopped and screwed when you look at the people, when you look at the deformities that they had. They was pretty fucked up.
So from your research, you're claiming that it was just the 18th dynasty, or what? What do you have?
I don't. You don't see it in pre-dynastic Egypt, and you don't see it in the first dynasty, and you don't see it in the third and the fourth dynasty. It's just that 18th dynasty. The only person that broke that lineage is when Tutmos messed with Queen Amos, which was Amenhotep's the first daughter. He broke that lineage because he wasn't from that bloodline. But even she, which was his wife, Tutmos the first wife, she didn't live that long. She had a lot of deformities going on due to the genetic disorder that she carried from her family being close relatives. It's crazy.
So what textual evidence are you showing that they was practicing incest? Do you have some text claiming that? Do you just matching up names? What's your document on the names?
Matching up the names, looking at the parenting. Like for example, if anybody, I'm using articles off the internet. If anybody look at the parentings of the people, especially Utmos and Utmos first Nefertari, they had the same mother and father. If you just type their names, you don't even have to not on no Wikipedia shit. Just type their names, and if you type Utmos, Ahmose the first, and his wife, or you type up her name, Ahmose Nefertari, you type her name, which was the first, they have the same parents, same mother and father.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to add something? Anybody want to add something before I go in? Because I'm going to go in. I'm going to show you.
Yeah. Let me add a thought. On one hand, as Ngozi would point out, you have the lineage that's laid out, so you know who the parents are. And then on the other hand, I know Aunt, you said that there's instances where they're mixing up mummies, etc. Now, if we're to say that they mixed up the mummies of the 18th dynasty, you still have to account for the lineage. You know what I'm saying? Because if the lineage says that, let's say, Ahmose Nefertari, who was the wife of Ahmose the first, the beginning, the two that initiated the 18th dynasty, and their parents are the same, that's what the record would say. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we're going to say that they mixed up mummies, you have to be specific. You have to name what king and queen of the mummy, per se. You know what I'm saying? So we can't, so we're not going to make like blanket statements. Well, if they mixed up a couple of mummies, that means they did it with all of them. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at the lineage, too. Because if the lineage, according to the primary documents, say that these two have the same parents, then, that's what it is. So let's keep those things in mind. Go ahead.
All right. Anybody else want to add something?
Yeah, I'm saying on that situation, I heard about the incest, situation too. I don't know if all the dynasties practice it, but I heard, it was done. And I think also the Europeans over here that, the ones that have some type of power, they also do it too. I was watching some on YouTube. I don't know how true it is, but I heard they probably got the influence from there. It could be possible.
All right. How about you, Brother Ed?
I'm just doing the knowledge stuff. You know what I mean? If anybody got the links and stuff, I'll just analyze the links. You know what I mean? And do the knowledge on it.
Okay. All right. First of all, that's kind of what we're doing here. We're trying to really figure out what's good and what's not. Now, this article I posted right here. First of all, for me, this would not be a credible link, Mail Online or something like that. It's dealing with the unmasked real faces of the crippled King Tut, okay, and his ancestral parents. So for me, this would not be a credible link. It gives you no references and no resources. And right beside it, on the right of it, you see all kind of stars and actresses. So this is not a site dedicated to the study of what they're actually talking about. I can find no references, nothing, not one. And so for me, I would not use that. I would not use this link. Okay, now where you at, Sister Jackie? How you doing, Black African Power? Hello? Hold on, let me see. Hold on, let me get this straight here. Let me get that. All right, I got you. And where you at, Sister Jacqueline? How you doing, Black African?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, your line is open, sis.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yep,
okay,
I'm
you got
here.
That article? Okay, you hearing that? Watch. I'm
I
going
have
to
the
put this
article.
link.
You want me to start reading?
Yeah, not yet. Hold on. I'm going to put this in there for the chat room. I was talking about trying to show people what links should we use and how should we study and how should we come to our conclusion. First of all, I was rather surprised that no one had really went in depth on it. So I get how you're getting your conclusion, Ngozi. I get that. Okay, now watch this. I'm putting this article in here, and this is how I came to this article. Let me kind of explain to you so we can kind of get the in-depthness of what I did. Okay, this is a PDF file, okay? And the first thing I did was I scrolled all the way down to the bottom of this article. The article is entitled Incest in Ancient Egypt by Ashley Jones. No one real important, okay? Now, I scrolled down to the bottom of it before I even read the article, and I looked at all the references. So let's take a look at the reference for a minute. You got Adams BP, Consanguineous, I'm not saying, Consanguinous, marriages in the ancient world, folklore, okay? 93, page 85, 82. Then you got Agar, Seeley L., right? Familiarities breeds incest in the Ptolemaic dynasty. The Journal of Hellenic Studies. So we're starting to use journals here. Okay, now you got Ray Batchelor, 1982. So we're looking at the dates now. The first references from 1982. The next one was 2005. So we're starting to get some up-to-date references. And we in 1982, you got sibling incest and royal families of Egypt, Peru, Hawaii, and the Journal of Sex Research. So now we have a journal strictly dedicated to sex and sexual practices. Then you come to Jaroslav Kearney, okay, 1954. This is a very, very interesting reference here. He wrote the article entitled Consanguineous Marriages in Pharaonic Egypt, the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology. Okay, now, I went to some of my sites. I like to use JSTOR. Pretty sure y'all familiar with that. And I started dropping some of these names in here, and I started to pull up some of their articles to even begin to figure out, well, what the hell was this person talking about, and why would they use these articles? So this is some of the methodology that we should use in our initial trying to get the information together, trying to put out, well, you know, what is going on with this incest and how can we understand that? And so I think in this particular article, they use like 10 references, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 references, and then I pulled some of my own. But you'll see I'm dealing with journals. Okay, I'm dealing with peer-reviewed work. I'm not just snatching anything off the internet. I'm not saying that's what you did in Ngozi, but I'm trying to give the people a framework of how I came up with my conclusion. And I was surprised that no one had really looked at it. So what I want to do is I want to start off with this article, and let's see what conclusion they came up to, and then I'm going to get back to that person that I mentioned, Kearney. That's his last name, Jaroslav Kearney. He's a very, very important piece in this puzzle of dealing with incest, because guess what he did? He actually did the research on the marriages. He actually had the certain texts. I think he evaluated over maybe 340-something texts, you know, dealing with certain names, and he started putting the information together. To this point, no one had ever did that. Okay? So let's jump up here real quick, and let's start this off. This is a very important article. I want y'all to listen real close, because I guarantee you no one has really talked about this in depth. It just kind of flew by our community, and I want to make sure we got that. So you can go ahead to start with that introduction.
Incest avoidance, proscriptions, and statutes have generally been regarded by anthropologists as culturally universal. However, the veracity of this supposed universality is contingent on whether or not well-known exceptions can be regarded as factually significant. With that in mind, formally accepted forms of consanguineous relationships are a particularly troublesome and yet exposing study. The Incas, Hawaiians, and ancient Egyptians are among the most widely referenced exceptions to the incest taboo. While these aberrations have been noted, scholars are often quick to maintain that they are sanctioned solely in order to protect royal bloodlines, and the practice is rarely, if ever, found amongst the general populace.
Hold on for a minute, sis. Now, the reference they use for that is Milton. Remember that name, because I had to go read his journal and see exactly what he was talking about and what was his credibility to these statements. Go ahead, sis.
Despite academic consensus for the presence of brother-sister marriages between Egyptian royalty, there is much less emphasis on the pervasiveness of this custom throughout Egyptian society, as could be seen during the Greco-Roman period, 332 CE to 395 CE.
Okay, so now Romo-Greco period. You should all know what the hell a Romo-Greco period is. You have no indigenous Africans on the throne at this particular time. Go ahead.
This paper will attempt to examine both the chronological and sociological range of near-kin marriages in ancient Egypt and offer potential explanations for its popularity. Then it goes to Section 2, Classical Testimony. Before discussing the origins of incestuous marriages in ancient Egypt and its progression into a widespread phenomenon during the Greco-Roman period, it may be useful to briefly discuss one of the main proponents of the practice, for example, classical Greek and Roman authors. While it can be noted that the Greeks were notorious for exaggerating and their chronicles of barbarians are often considered questionable when their accounts are taken in conjunction with further evidence, which will be examined later. They foster additional validation. Diodorus of Sicily, a Greek historian, wrote, "The Egyptians also made a law, they say, contrary to the general custom of mankind, permitting men to marry their sisters, this being due to the success attained by Isis in this respect, for she had married her brother Osiris." Other classical historians, i.e. Philo, Judaeus, Seneca, Pausanias, etc., also make similar comments on the tradition of incestuous marriages in Egypt, many of which, like Diodorus, linking the origins of its practice to religion.
Okay, so now you would have to understand the marriage between Osiris, okay, and Isis. You would have to understand, once again, the African system that you're dealing with here, because you would make that mistake. So we have Greek writers trying to look at African mythology now and make that assertion that would go to human beings. So we're starting to see where is this starting to come from one of their Greek writers. We're starting to see who first made this idea that the Africans was practicing incest, because they looked at our mythology and say, see, but did they understand the natural elements that the deities were representing? Did they understand that the original people on the planet ain't nobody around but a couple people, so you would have to do, it would have to be some type of incest going on. This is detailed in Shikadi Diop's work, Civilization of Barbarism, where he talks about the original clans. They had to practice incest. But we're talking about a period now where Africans would have known that was a taboo. Go ahead, sis. See the religious connection that they're claiming here. I like to say the misunderstanding of it, but go ahead.
The earliest accounts of celebrated incest in ancient Egypt can be found in religion. For example, the sibling deities Shu and Tefnut were married and gave birth to two children, Jeb or Geb and Nut, who in turn married and had offspring. Perhaps of more importance was the incestuous relationship between the god Osiris and his sister Isis, mentioned above, who gave birth to the famed Horus. This myth was widely known by the time of the First Dynasty, and Horus would continue to be one of the most significant deities through to Greco-Roman times. This may help to explain why incest was acceptable for Egyptian royalty as early as the Pharaonic period, for if the pharaohs were regarded as embodiments of the gods, they may be free to act as the gods do. Hence, if incest is acceptable to the gods, it must be acceptable for pharaohs as well. While the concept of incest among deities is not unique to Egyptian religion, the extension of this practice to humans is what makes the Egyptian case such a compelling one.
Oh, okay. Kind of compelling, honey, they would extend that to the humans. Like, why would they do that? Very interesting. Come to the Pharaonic period. Now we're going to start getting some clarity on the situation. So we see how it all started with these Greeks misinterpreting African science or African mythology. Go ahead.
The Pharaonic period. It is said that incestuous marriages were present in various Pharaonic dynasties. Russell Middleton suggested that incest was particularly common in the 18th and 19th dynasties, and that pharaohs such as Tao II, Amenhotep I, Tutmos I, Tutmos II, Tutmos III, Amenhotep II, and Tutmos IV probably all married half-sisters. However, one must be mindful of literal interpretations of Egyptian jargon concerning relationships, for it is known that spouses were often referred to as my brother or my sister in inscriptions. Middleton's conclusion, therefore, may be seen as somewhat of an exaggeration concerning the number of incestuous marriage in the royal family. It may even be possible that none of the so-called sisters were in fact related to their husbands by blood.
Oh, so see, now we starting to get it now. Now we starting to paint the picture to see that this guy militant comes to a conclusion based off of a misunderstanding of African text, a misunderstanding of African lifestyle. That's why we routinely say on the show, when you view your ancient history, you got to try to view it through the eyes, right, of an original person. You cannot take your Europeanisms, right, that was given to you through slavery and place it on the ancient cultures. Like you can't say, well, they practice polytheism. They wouldn't know what the hell you was talking about. So you must understand, we routinely call our wives sisters, right, and our husbands brothers for the sisters that are married to the brothers. We do that regularly, and white people still can't understand that. You can go to work right now and say, yeah, that's my sister right there. And they say, yeah, so what y'all, where was y'all raised at? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's just my sister because that's my sister. Not through marriage or not through blood, but that's just my sister.
But let me ask you this,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish, and then I'll respond.
Okay, so fundamentally, we're starting to see how this start to pile up. Now, go ahead, because this is when we start to get into the thick of it.
Okay. Now, if they I hear what you're saying, and that article is just one theory. That's a theory as well, just like what I'm saying is a theory. But my thing is, if they wasn't related, why does these people have the same parents? If you look at the people, the children that they gave birth to, and the children that they raised, and the close relatives, they were all related. Why does it say that these people are their parents, and these people are their half brother and sister, and a lot of these people in the 18th dynasty didn't live that long. Utmost only lived to be 35 years old. A lot of their children were dying early. Why are these children having scoliosis? Why are these children having diseases like Marfan disease? Why are they having all these disorders in their dynasty? Why are they not living that long? Why do King Tut got a curve in his back, walking with a cane and a club foot and a clapped lip? What's going on? What's going on in that whole dynasty? Why are the people not living that long? Why are the wives who was children of brothers and sisters dying early? That's what I'm trying to understand. I don't get it.
Hold on. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get it. So I'm just kind of bringing you to the origin of where this myth of incest started to come in. I just want to kind of show you how it first started with these Greek historians misunderstanding our system of spirituality. That's first of all, and then the militant comes in. I'm not finished. Go ahead. You want to add something real quick, Sinjetti? Because I'm getting to the points now.
Yeah. You both have valid points, and if we are to find what we call incest, let us be correct for the right reason and not correct for the wrong reason. For example, like you're pointing out, let's not say it's incest because the Greeks said it. Let it be incest because it's what our records say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm saying.
And to also bring more validation, and I'll bring this after you put in your information. I have examples in the actual literature, like from the Papyrus Chester Beatty #1, which are love poems. So after you put in some of your documents, I'll read this, and it'll help solidify some of the points.
All right. Okay, where you at? Go ahead, sis.
Evidence for brother-sister marriage between members of the populace during Pharaonic times is meager. In 1954, Jaroslav Cerny published an important study examining 358 documents or delay, yielding 490 marriages, listing the names of the mothers and fathers of both parties involved. In his study, revealed a complete lack of evidence for the practice in the Old Kingdom, example, up until 2100 BCE. But he managed to find two practically certain cases of incestuous marriages between commoners from the Middle Kingdom and one certain case from the 22nd dynasty. Prior to a Cerny study being published, Egyptologists assumed that the existence of incestuous marriages was self-evident and commonplace throughout all of Egypt's almost 3 millennia-long history prior to Alexander's conquest in 331 BCE. Cerny proposed that this misunderstanding was due to, 1, the fact that such marriages are well attested for the Greco-Roman period, and 2, the testimony of classical authors, 3, as aforementioned, that in Egyptian texts, wives were called sisters.
Okay, now let's figure out who this Kearney character is. Okay, I'm going to put the link in there for you, and we're going to see who this guy is, right, who's refuting this information. Hold on. Peace, and I'm going to put that in there, okay? All right, find out who this guy is, okay? Who exactly is this Kearney guy? First of all, I'm going to let you know, the Kearney guy, he wrote a Coptic, like I said, he wrote, let me see, one of the most important results of the philosopher's research was the Coptic Etymology Dictionary. Put that in your search, Coptic Etymology Dictionary, which was largely in proof at the time of his death. The Coptic was the language of the Christians in Egypt from the third century and onward, and was a direct descent of the ancient Egyptian, although written in the Greek alphabet. Okay, we know that. So we know that this guy kind of understands the language a little bit. Okay, so he's not a bad reference for looking at the African names and figuring out what they're doing. Now watch this. Now come down. Let me see. Let's figure out something. Is he credible? Dr. Kearney was by no means confined to teaching an armchair. I mean, he wasn't just sitting around. Okay, research, but included frequent trips to Egypt and in European museums to collect new data. While his academic career owed much of his esteem of his English colleagues, his fieldwork was an expression of his close relationship with the French Egyptologists. From 1925 to 1940, he was engaged in interpreting and publishing much of the inscribed material covered by the excavation of the French Institution of Archaeology in Cairo, okay, near Thebes. Subsequently, he spent several years recording with his colleagues the inscriptions of the famous Temple of Ramses II at Abu Simbel. In response to the UNESCO appeal to the record, the monument shortly to be permanently inundated by, by the new Aswan Dam. Okay, so we know who he's at, and we know what kind of work he did. And he was, in 1951, he became professor of Egyptology at Oxford University, following Backholm's Gunn, who formerly was a curator here. In 1954, he was a visiting professor at Brown's University in the province of Rhode Island. So he's one of them white boy Egyptologists, okay? I'm not saying he's qualified to really look at African culture and understand what it is, but at least he's in the thick of it. Okay, and at least he's the foremost authority on at least 350 texts that he did dealing with this issue. Because really, before I really looked at this issue, I thought everybody understood what was going on. But when I delved into it, I realized that he's the only one that really tried to make some sense out of it, and it's amazing.
But what about now he's an Egyptologist, but when it comes to anthropology and it comes to DNA reading, he's not dealing with science. When you measure the tissues or the DNA pattern of these skeletons or the residue of these skeletons, these people are all genetically related. Egyptologists can only tell you something historical based off what he believed, what he measured, and what he's seen. But I'm talking about science. When you get into science, DNA can prove anything regardless of how dead you are. And through DNA, a lot of these people are related. A lot of these people had a lot of deformities.
And the problem with that is, right, they didn't disclose the full DNA evidence because it would tell who these people really were. You know damn well Halal don't want you to really know who they are. They never, if you really look it up and delve into it, they didn't give all the information. They bits and pieces. It is not complete yet. But hold on for a minute and go ahead, sis.
Cerny's study. Other examples of incestuous marriages among commoners have been noted, and yet remain controversial.
Controversial. Go ahead.
While it is generally understood that incest in the royal family did occur during the Pharaonic period, It was probably only amongst half-siblings, and the practice did not, except perhaps for a few instances, extend to commoners. The Greco-Roman period. The Greco-Roman period can be described as the period following the conquest by Alexander the Great that marked the end of independent rule in Egypt. From 332 BCE until c. 359, Egypt would be ruled by a succession of Macedonian kings and Roman emperors. For the purposes of this paper, this period will be divided into two parts, i.e. the Ptolemaic period, 305 BCE to 30 BCE, and the Roman period, 30 BCE, CE 324, in which incestuous marriages were common.
So now we see where it's common. Where is it common at? The Roman Greek period. You know what I'm saying? Did you read the Ptolemy period yet? Did you get to that yet?
Not yet. Incestuous marriages among the Egyptians. Yes.
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Okay, among Egyptian royalty are said to have peaked during the Ptolemaic period. Prior to the reign of the Ptolemies, only cases of half-sibling incest could be proven among the royal families in Egypt. Arsinoe and her younger brother Ptolemy II were the first to depart from tradition and engage in full sibling marriage.
Okay, so now we see in the Ptolemy period, we see that they break away from the half-sister, and up further in the article, they didn't even know whether they was really sisters or half-sisters. They ain't really figured it out. It's on it. But it's clear that in the Greek period, okay, that they broke away. And why did they break away? Because they did not understand the actual customs and traditions of those brothers and sisters in the Nile Valley river societies. It's a misunderstanding. It's funny as hell. Go ahead, sis.
So Arsinoe and her younger brother Ptolemy II were the first to depart from tradition and engage in full sibling marriage. It has been suggested that this practice was a deliberate attempt by the Ptolemies to establish an innovative basis for a dynastic cult in the hopes of unifying the Egyptians and the Greeks. King Ptolemy II is noted as making incest a major theme of propaganda, emphasizing the divine nature of the couple, who he considered to be beyond the limits of conventional humanity. The descendants of Ptolemy II had a tendency to follow his example. Of the 13 Ptolemies who came to throne, 7 contracted full brother-sister marriages. Incest came to govern the marriage patterns of the Ptolemaic house, and the progeny of royal unions became progressively more inbred. However, from the Ptolemaic period, there is no non-literary and non-royal material dealing with incestuous marriages. Due to this lack of evidence.
Hold on. Due to lack of evidence. Okay, listen. Due to lack of evidence, scholars believe that the brother-sister marriages during Ptolemy reign was restricted to royalty. Interesting. Move on to the Roman Greek period real quick, the Roman period. And you see how they really get out of control here. This is showing you the total degradation of African culture right in front of your face. Go ahead, sis, the Roman period.
The Roman period marks the time in Egypt where there is an abundance of evidence for the widespread practice of sibling marriages, i.e. incestuous marriages among all social classes. The majority of the evidence stems from documentary papyri of several sorts, marriage contracts, petitions, census documents, etc. It is important to note that unlike evidence from earlier periods, which as seen can be subject to a variety of interpretations, the documents from the Roman period possess a technical character and an indisputable precision. In 1980, Keith Hopkins conducted a study of incestuous marriage in Roman Egypt, which is recognized as the most sophisticated and analytically satisfying study of its subject. Hopkins researched household census returns dating to the period between CE 19 to 20 and 257 to -258, in which 270 censuses were preserved. From this, Hopkins concluded that brother-sister marriages were the norm during Roman times, adding, "It is worth stressing that we are dealing here not with occasional premarital sex between siblings, but with lawful, publicly celebrated marriage between full brother and sister." He estimated that 1/3 and maybe more of all men who had a marriageable sister chose intrafamilial marriages over marrying a woman from outside their family, and he further argued that the surviving census returns are probably representative of a wider Egyptian population. This claim, however, was met with criticism. In 1992, Brent Shaw argued that the return study by Hopkins mainly came from Greek settlements and that the persons who completed the census were direct descendants either of Greek settlers or of those Egyptians who were trying to pass as such persons.
That's funny, trying to pass. We've seen that happen, trying to pass. Go ahead, end that up. Just finish that last sentence. Matter of fact, we can end that right there. Okay, I just want to kind of show you. And then when you deal with African societies, you deal with the dynastic periods, sometimes it was important to marry your sister, but it wasn't for sex. It was strictly for politics. It was strictly for the line, not the bloodline like they trying to make you say, but we all know that the bloodline goes through the woman. When the woman line die out, right, then the dynastic period changed over. So it's not as simple as we thought it was. We start to understand it in the Greek and the Roman periods. It was all out, pure all out, but it's kind of real shaky. You know what I'm saying? Not really founded on the truth. And I got some other articles I'm putting in so y'all can read, and I think it's very interesting. Okay, so I got one article I'm going to put in there for y'all. It's from the journal. Let me see. Let me get this right here. I don't know if y'all can look. I don't think y'all can see the whole thing, but it's from the Problem in Egyptology, Ancient Egyptian Kingship. Okay, this is in the Black Journal right here. The Black Journal, the Journal of Black Studies. And the brother does an excellent job on explaining this. So y'all can go ahead and spend y'all $10. Sometimes you might got to spend a couple dollars to really get to this. See, just jumping straight on the internet all the time might not be the best thing. You got to get to these journals. If you belong to a college, you can put your code in, and you can get to read the full journal. I just threw that in there. You can read the abstract of the journal. I don't want to read that because I don't want to take up too much time. But I'm telling you, the evidence is there to clearly show. Now, Ngozi introduced the genetic studies, which is very, very important, but we're not getting a full-blown on that. We just not. But that's all I basically want to say on that. Go ahead, Sinjetti.
Okay. And again, just to, reiterate, again, the example that Ngozi gave, is dealing specifically with the 18th dynasty. And the information that Unc was giving is dealing primarily with the Greco-Roman period after Alexander, around 4th century BCE going up. All right, so we're dealing with two different time periods. Now, what I'm going to read
talked about the Old Kingdom too, though, bro. I talked about the Old Kingdom as finding none.
Well, as far as the detailed information with all right. So what I'm going to read can be referenced from what's called Papyrus Chester Beatty, Beatty. And we all know how to spell Chester. It can also be found on the Papyrus Harris 500, British Museum 10060. Okay. All right. These are a collection of what they call love poems. Okay. The first one I'm going to read this. It says, "Beginning of the sayings of the great happiness. The one, the sister without peer, the handsomest of all. She looks like the rising morning star at the start of a happy year, shining bright, fair of skin, lovely the look of her eyes, sweet the speech of her lips. She has not a word too much, upright neck, shining breast, hair true lapis lazuli, arms surpassing gold, fingers like lotus buds, Heavy thighs, black woman, narrow waist. Her legs parade her beauty. With graceful step, she treads the ground, captures my heart by her movements. She causes all men's necks to turn about to see her. Joy has he whom she embraces. He is like the first of men. When she steps outside, she seems like the other one. Now, a quick breakdown of this. First off, this is a man who's speaking about a woman who he's admiring. He finds her very attractive, all right? But see, he calls her the sister. So in this case, it's similar to how we might say, yo, what's up, man? You still dating that sister right there? Yeah, that sister gonna be my wifey, okay? You're not talking about your little sister because you wouldn't talk about your full-blown blood sister like this, okay, in this case, all right? He describes her body, talks about heavy thighs, narrow waist. I mean, that in itself is a description of a black woman's body. So, we can erase the European type of body. The next stanza is by a sister. And she says this: my brother torments my heart with his voice. He makes sickness take hold of me. He is neighbor to my mother's house, and I cannot go to him. Mother is right in charging him thus. Give up seeing her. It pains my heart to think of him. I am possessed by love of him. Truly, he is a foolish one, but I resemble him. He knows not my wish to embrace him, or would write to my mother. Brother, I am promised to you by the gold of women. Come to me that I may see your beauty. Father, mother will rejoice. My people will hail you all together. They will hail you, oh my brother. Okay, so again, it's a sister. It seems like she's secretly admiring him because she says he knows not my wish to embrace him. So obviously, you're not talking about your blood brother. Okay. So of course, there's several other stanzas, up to 7 stanzas. Throughout this collection of poems. But again, what do you think about that? Now that comes from the papyrus. Okay, You know what I'm saying? We got scientific study, we got journals, but we always have to remember, read what they wrote, because you have to read and let them speak for themselves. And this is what they said. So what's a little critique on that?
I get that. If you understand what's going on, if you don't, you're gonna think they run around each other. You're gonna think it's brothers and sisters. It's crazy.
Right.
As I said earlier, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like here, this is a general system. Now, of course, you may have exceptions to the rule. Like I'm quite sure there may be evidence, as a brother Ngozi proposed, of the 18th dynasty. Actually keeping their bloodline within the family for a second. But I do think it is a misconception to say that it is an extremely common practice for all societies to do that. You know what I'm saying? Right. You would have to have exceptions. I think that 18th dynasty would definitely have been an exception to that rule. You know what I'm saying? Because me as one who went to school for biology, understand that when you make that closely to genetics, then deformities are inevitable. Okay, as Ngozi rightly pointed out. But see, you don't have a lot of that, let's say, in the 19th dynasty. Okay?
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Which is why you have a lot of them do live long, like Usamare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Usamare or Ramisu II, he lived to be in his 80s or 90s.
90 years old.
Yeah, and he had over 100 children. You know what I'm saying? 5 various different women. Okay.
Here's a good point here. Let me kind of make an example. Here's a question for the panel. Would you agree that in North America, right, marriage is a legal thing? Would all y'all agree to that?
Yes. Okay.
Of course.
Okay. And would you also agree it's also a religious matter?
as well. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, you know, like in God we you know how they do in America. Everybody agree to that, correct?
Right.
Okay, now are you also aware that in ancient Africa that wasn't the case? Let me go to the Black Journal of Black Studies. I put it inside the chat room. Okay, go ahead and pay your $10 and get the whole thing, or put your code in there, college, and read the whole damn journal. You go to page 142, the Black Journal of Black Studies. It says all these can, hold on, let me go and say, also because it is well known that marriage in ancient Egypt was a cultural event, not a legal or religious matter. And that reference for that would be Robinson, 1993, page 57. The idea of property entitlement is a fascination of Western civilization that is primogeniture system. That's a system dealing with the male. Okay, the bloodline going through the male. So they put their ideas and concepts once again, right, back on people that never seen it that way. And that'll kind of take us into our next discussion on Ismailite religion. And I always say, when you're fighting to be African, you want to view the world, right, through the eyes of original people. You want to try to change your life to where you can start to see the way our ancestors saw, because we're the ancestors and the ancestors are us. And so it's very, very important, right, that when we're studying and when we're getting things off the internet, it's a certain way to do certain things. We got to kind of delve a little bit deeper. I see where you come from, Ngozi, and I feel you with that. But the point I'm making is no one to this point really dug into exactly how it all come out. So let's summarize real fast. We see that it was Greeks misinterpreting our ancient mythology, first of all, and thought maybe, well, you can just transfer it to the king. The king can do that too. So that means they had no understanding, right? Then we see that it was wholesale craziness, okay, on the part of Egyptologists, not even understanding that simple thing of, that's my sister, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying a brother playing basketball, you say, man, he's on fire.
I agree with you 100%. Me and you
broke that down. Hold on,
Gozi.
If we playing basketball and we say that nigga on fire, you wouldn't run and get a hose and spray him out, would you? No. You would say, man, he's shooting the lights out the basket. We always do that, and we do it. We do it now, and we did it then. Go ahead and go. I mean, yeah. Go ahead
I understand what you're saying. Just like when me and you talked the other day, and I say, you know, if you say some shit like I'm about to fall back, you know, some people that if they don't understand, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. And I said earlier before I even spoke, I said that in Africa, in African tradition, most people in all their traditional systems, whether it's Yoruba, Khan, or whatever, people refer to each other as sister and brother. I understand that. I'm not misinterpreting that. But as a critical thinker, not just looking at what a clocker say, but just studying that dynasty that I brought up specifically, these people had a lot of deformities, and it makes sense. As a critical thinker, it makes sense to me. I'm not saying it's factual. I'm not saying it's not, but it's a belief. It makes sense to me that in this specific dynasty that these people didn't really understand the old traditional ways of Kemet, and they were fucked up. The same thing with when you get Yisamad Sepin Ra Ramasu Mary Amen, who prayed to Amun Ra. The same thing when you get Amenhotep II, who believed, I think it was Amenhotep II from the writing, or one of them, who said that the Sphinx talked to him when he had to take the sand away. These people had their own thing going. So my thing is that in this specific dynasty, it appears as if they did it, and it makes sense that they did it, because a lot of the people were deformed. A lot of the people had deformities. They was fucked up genetically. And in this specific dynasty, it appears as if they were trying to preserve their bloodline because they didn't want to mix with nobody else outside of their family, so they believe it was a royal inheritance to maintain that wealth within that specific origin, because that bloodline was divine. They believed that. They believe it was divine. That's all I'm saying.
I get that, but we want to make sure we're the vanguard of African culture, and we don't want to kind of promote our beliefs. We want to make sure we have doctrine. Now, I can see what you're saying, but as far as it being a total fact, that's the point I wanted to make sure, because, see, people run, they hear things and they run with it. You know what I'm saying, Ngozi? That's why I wanted to detail where did this ancestral thing came from. And I wanted to put the references and the resources so we can kind of see it. I get your point. It's a belief you have that that those deformities are caused by incest. Okay, I hear that. But I just want to make sure that the level of scholarship always is to the point where a person can say, yes, for certain, that's what that is. I just wanted to bring that point out, Don Gozy, and I feel that.
Wait, I want to say this. So, because based on what I'm saying, are you saying that we do not know for a fact that, they practice incest? We don't have no idea.
I'm saying
that's what I'm trying to hear listening to both of y'all.
Right, they have no credible evidence, right? And I brought you one of the foremost authorities on breaking down 350 different stele, right? That he can't even verify that. No one since then has even approached him on that issue, though.
Well, actually,
I'm just telling you that.
Well, actually, according to the anthropology and the genetics, it's actually a fact that the people were related. Now, I'm not behind their measurement, and I'm not in their labs, but based off what they put out, they were all related. And based on
we all related though, according to DNA.
Hold on, yeah. Let me just say this. And also based off the dynasties that I read off the sheet that I wrote out, all these people were related. The hieroglyphs say that Utmost the first, or Utmost, who kicked out in the 18th dynasty, and Utmost Nefertari the first were brother and sister, right? Direct brother and sister in this specific 18th dynasty. They had the same mother and the same father. Yes, it says it. His mother, their mother was. Let me just say this, bro. Their mother was Ahotep the first, and Sikkara Dao the second. They had the same mother and father. This is based off the hieroglyph. This is what the glyph is saying.
Question. How do you know that they had sex with each other? Because, like I said, they married for certain things, not necessarily. They had a couple wives. You got to understand African tradition on that. I'm telling you,
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, Utmost Nefertari, the first mother and father, was the same mother and father as Utmost the first, and it's even pictures on the glyph. That was her direct mother and father. She was the daughter of the same people. They were all related. I mean, they were related. And if you look at the children that they had, a lot of the children didn't even survive because only two of Ahmos's children survived. That was Amenhotep the first and Ahmose Meri Amen. Those were the only two survived. They had 7 children. Only 2 survived. Why did the rest of the children die? Because they were deformed. The bloodline was connected.
Listen. So hold on. So how many? So let's count on a hand. How many do you got? How many kings and queens do we have in Africa, Nile Valley civilization? And how many are you saying practice this practice?
I'm naming the lineage out the Tutmosis the first, which is Hatshepsut, all the way down to Amenhotep the fourth. And Tutmosis the first actually broke that lineage. He broke that DNA when he married Amenhotep the first daughter, which was Queen Amus. When he married her, it was broken. But when it comes to, I'm talking about 4 pharaohs, Utmost the first and his father and father. That's 3 pharaohs right there in the suits right there. And I'm talking about from Tutmosis the second all the way down to Amenhotep the third. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 in the suits that I'm naming right there, including King Tut, which is 7, who married his half sister and had 2 children by her. 7. But the children died.
So you're saying 7 because of DNA evidence.
I'm saying 7 because of the DNA evidence, and I'm saying 7 based off the records of what the Egyptians wrote, who these people were, the relations to the people according to the hieroglyphs.
So that's what I want you to do.
Let me read something here. Let me read something from Flinders Petrie. Let me read something from Flinders Petrie. Now, Flinders Petrie, he's a credible Egyptologist. He's the one in the late 1800s. He actually went and he measured the pyramids. Okay. And he did it directly himself, okay? Now, when you go to the book A History of Egypt, volume number 2, published in 1896, page 337, he says this: from the Stela of Rufi, it is certain that Ahotep was mother of Ahmes the first, or Ahmose the first, and hence Ahmose and Nefertari were the same mother. Yet, we cannot suppose them to have had both parents alike. Hold on. Ahmose is always, except once, shown as the same color of the other Egyptians, while Nefertari is almost always color black. And any symbolic reason invented to account of such color applies equally to her brother. who is nonetheless not black, but it's something else. As Nefertari was specially venerated as the ancestress of the dynasty, we must suppose that she was in the royal succession appears to have been reckoned, and hence her black color is more likely to have come through her father. The only conclusion that these points should be established is that the Queen Ahotep had two husbands, the one black, the father of Nefertari, mainly, and the celebrated second Enra, who was of Berber type. Keep going. The other, an Egyptian, the father of Ahmos and his elder brothers, Kamis and another brother, which explains why those three kings were separated from the other children of Ahotep by her husband second Enra, and placed in a different line in the tomb of Kabeket. Pardon. All right. So that's a little something from this Petrie. So
and you saying summarize that for us, Sanjetti.
Okay. This here actually kind of supports both of what you're saying, and what Ngozi's saying at the same time. Here it's saying that all of them had the same mother. That they both had the same mother. However, he's suggesting that Ahmos Nefertari and Ahmos the First may have had a different father.
No, okay.
Hold on. But yet they still had the same bloodline because through the mother. So
watch this. I'm gonna come to the article in the Black Journal: Problems in Egyptology, Ancient Egyptian Kingship. This is written in 2000. When was the Petrie thing written in?
Okay, Petrie wrote this in 1896. And when you're ready, I'll read you something from 1973.
And watch this. This is 2000, page 145, right? It says, to date, all studies on ancient Egyptian kinship terms fail to agree on the nature of their kinship system or social organization. Although ancient Egypt kinship terms have been somewhat clarified, their use and the kinship term requires further study. Robinson, 1993, and Burrier, 1980, drawing no conclusion on the type of kinship system used by the ancient Egyptians in their work. Although Frederick sees it as Kari, Jensen describes it as Hawaiian, and Williams, 1919, describes it as Meyer's system with integration and extension rules. Frank determines the system to be both systematical and lateral. Wow. Hold on. It says, more important, Egyptologists have imposed Western Indo-European kinship terminology on the ancient Egyptian society by mechanically following Western kinship terms. For example, kin, which is which is literally the brother of my mother, or mother's brother, is typically referred to as uncle. This type of imposition of Western kinship terminology alters the comparison and reality of the ancient Egyptian kinship terms and social organizations. For example, Forger, 1996, states, the rule of succession from brother to brother until the branch becomes extinct, and from uncle to son of the eldest brother, is further evidence of the greater importance attached to the patrilineal. Now, you know damn well they ain't have a patrilineal system. They say in Western kinship and Western European kinship terminology, the term uncle has several components. One is that it designates a male and could encompass generations above and below that of a related relative. Consequently, it could be one's mother's brother, mother's sister's husband, husband's father's brother, and father's sister's husband. Okay, by examining Forgy's statement without the Western imposition of kingship terminology, a different reality appears. The succession from brother to brother until the branch became extinct, and from mother's brother to to son of the elders is further, let me turn the page, hold on, is further evidence of the greater importance attached to the patronyl. The change in kinship terminology from uncle to brothers alters the entire context of Forger's assumption and makes the question of patronyl dubious at best. In fact, the term mother's brother could be said to demonstrate the importance attached to the matronyl. This type of imposition of Western kinship terminology alters the compensation of the reality of the ancient Egyptian kinship family and social organization. I'm saying that these people don't know what the hell they talking about. Okay? This is a very good article for you to read. Okay? Very, very important article for you to read. And then look at the notes. I'll get into notes. Somebody want to add that real quick before I get into the notes real quick, and then we can move right on.
Move on.
Everybody quiet on that.
Oh, you say. Hold on. What you say, brother?
Let me finish this article.
No, I was just saying, nobody got anything to add in there. My thing is
that shit just distorted the whole thing. I'm saying we reading all these people, they be distorting shit, yo. It's clear.
I think they were screwed up. As a critical thinker, I believe that they were screwed up. As my own thinker, I think that 18th dynasty was fucked up. The people, that's just me. I'm a critical thinker. I understand what Brother Sanjetti is saying, and it's a fact that Africans practice and say sister and brother. But to that 18, I'm not talking out of emotion. I'm being serious. I'm just being a critical thinker. That 18th dynasty, to me, that whole dynasty was just fucked up genetically. That's just me.
You know what's interesting about that? I think that was Dr. Ben's favorite dynasty. It was. Right, and he never mentioned that. Was he trying to hide something?
Of course he wouldn't mention it. Why would he mention it? Go ahead, Sanjetti.
No. Dr. Clark.
The other way around, right?
That's his favorite dynasty. Okay, Dr. Ben's favorite dynasty is the 19th. Now again, whether it's someone's writing in 1800 or somebody's writing in 2012, if the information is correct, it's correct. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, 2 plus 2 is, 4, whether you're seeing in 1800s or you're seeing it today. All right, so the thing read by Flinders Petrie, this man went over there and actually did the on-ground research. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So,
right.
Now.
But this article is on those people, though, particularly all of them.
Yeah.
Give them all of them the charge. That's why we got to grow up, and be digging in the dirt.
Okay, right. Now, again, it is a practice that people did that. You know what I'm saying? Having, been married to a half brother or half sister. I don't really, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. Like, if it happened, it happened. You know what I'm saying? There's records that suggest that. I'm talking about the ancient records that suggest that.
Like where?
Now, this
Just
is not.
Just give me the link so I can see it, Jay. Where you at?
Hold up, man.
Do you have it?
I'm going to give you a link here. Hold up. Well, I already told you here, you can get that Flinders Petrie book. I can actually send you the book, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, send that real quick.
All right, we'll talk about the book. But that is a practice, right? Man, it's not rocket science. It is a practice that people marry to have brothers and sisters in order to preserve the bloodline or the legitimacy. Okay, people did that. Okay, it's possible. It happened. Now, did every single person do that? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So we can't always make blanket statements. We can't always make blanket statements. We can't say none of them did that, and then we can't say all of them did that. We have to be specific. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're being specific. How many pharaohs do they have, Mr. Jetty?
Hold on. You pointed out that, I think the sister read it as well, that they have written documents saying that these people were brothers and sisters, like in the Greco-Roman period. Like, that's straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now,
but here's a good question, though, real fast.
Now, hold on. Now, 18th dynasty, okay, when you look at the papyri, when you look at the monuments and when they talk about whose parents is what, I mean, it says it right there. You know what I'm saying? Now, was everybody full blood brother and sister? No. But they wanted to preserve their bloodline. And on top of that, the 18th dynasty was started by Nubians. Okay? Ahmose, Ahotep, Tedasheri, who was Ahmose's grandmother, they came out of Nubia. Okay? So they probably had a slight modified version of practices than straight Egyptian people. You know what I'm saying? So we got to take those things into account when we factor into these things. Whereas when we go to the 19th dynasty, all right, we're dealing with Seti. Pardon me, you're dealing with Ramisu the first, Seti the first, and then Ramisu the second. Okay, like their situation was a little bit different. Okay, then the straight 18th dynasty in the beginning, and then you have to look at the time period too, which is different. See, the 18th dynasty, they kicked out the Hyksos, okay? And remember, you have, Hyksos trying to mix their blood in to their society, okay? So how do you weed out Hyksos blood in your society? By keeping your bloodline in there. You know what I'm saying? You there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. The phone was kind of going out. All right. So we also have to take into account what was going on in that time period in history. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though, let's say in the early dynasties, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they didn't have the same problems as what happened in the 18th dynasty. What happened in the 17th and 18th dynasty. It was a different situation. Okay? Now, after the fact, when the 19th and the 20th come in, they really perhaps didn't have to do that. They didn't have to start a whole bloodline.
Question: did y'all say Queen Ty was married to what? Y'all mentioned that too?
I said Queen T. That was Amenhotep's third wife.
Now, hold on. In the footnotes of this article in the Black Journal, this is what he says. For example, Queen Ty, right, or Queen T, wife of Amenhotep III, held the title King's sister. But in fact, she was not his sister or half-sister. And the reference for that is, hold on. The reference for that is Noel Den, 1995, page 9 through 69. All right, let me finish this off real quick. Hold on. In his notes, he say, indeed, kinship and social organization are primarily patterns of behavior determined by culture. I'm going to say this again. Indeed, kinship and social organization are primarily patterns of behavior determined by culture. So you got to understand the culture to determine the patterns. He goes on to say, by proceeding from a Western European perspective, Egyptologists, that's Peachtree and all the boys, right? Egyptologists not only impose Western kingship terms on ancient Egyptian society, but they also impose cultural connotations and values to these terms. In fact, this has been one of the methods used by Egyptologists to remove ancient Egypt civilization and its African context. Well, I just put the articles in there. Right?
Okay.
I think the points were well, you know what I'm saying, demonstrated. I just want to let y'all know that I hope y'all saving these damn links, because they some real powerful links. Okay, get some journals, break down the information so you can understand what's going on. Now, I want to go to the phone line. Let me see where everybody at. Where you at, Kemet? What's up, brother? Black African Power. Brother Kemet.
Hotep, Black African Power.
720.
Hotep.
What's up, brother? You want to ask something? You have something to say before we get into his Mayata religion?
A lot's been said. I've been listening. I've been in the chat room. You just have to be careful about, like I say all the time, European scholarly sensibility. They lie about every damn thing. And you're better off listening to Khalid Muhammad than some PhD that read your stuff. And so the reality is that any ideas of incest being a system practiced by any African families or civilizations is no different than Europeans accusing us of all kinds of hideous shit that ain't right, that ain't true. It's the same action. It's an attempt to shit on your grandparents so that you turn your back on them and sit on the lap of a child molester named Jesus Christ.
So, Brother Kemet, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So as a human being, you honestly believe that Africans, as a human being, I'm not talking about crackers, but as a human being, you honestly believe that Africans were just straight civilized all over the continent? All over the continent. 52 countries, over 1 million languages. And within these different countries, they speak different languages and different tribes, that each African was civilized as a human being. They had no mental problems or no form of disabilities or retardations or none of that. You believe that?
I don't believe that at all. What I know is that Africans had an organic system of dealing with every aspect of life, from birth to death, concerning the universe and every other place. And so what I do know and what I support is what Winnie Mandela told this white girl at American University when she asked her about the blacks, killing the blacks in South Africa before the white man came. And she laughed like I'm laughing. You are young. Before the white man came, no blacks were killing any blacks. They weren't even killing each other in war. So there is specific evidence. There is specific evidence of us having time periods where we did not have bloodshed. Europeans don't have that in their history.
And what part of Africa?
Wait a minute. In all parts. There are parts of history. In all parts. What do you mean what part of Africa? South Africa specifically, for what I just said. What do you mean?
You have 53 countries. You have different people on different parts of the continent, and you telling me that...
You have 54 artificially created countries that are at war because of the artificial borders. When you're talking ancient...
I understand that, brother, but Africans always had different tribes. In Nigeria, they speak 521 languages. These are countries, not states.
Whatever.
All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold
these countries, not states. Come on, man, we gotta stop romanticizing Africa.
Hold on for a minute, bro.
Come on, man, that shit is bullshit, man.
You asked me a question. When you consider
go ahead. Let him answer the question, Goldie.
You can't project your modern sensibility on the organic origin and structures of what we had. This is no different than saying Africans had slavery in ancient times when the term and concept didn't exist in the African consciousness. The word for do it in the booty didn't come to the Africans until the white man came. So I hear what you're saying, but I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Okay, brother, let me just, can I say something to you, please? I'm not disputing what you're saying, but I'm just saying, again, I'm a critical thinker. That's all that the Goldie is. I'm real. I understand what you're saying. But if you study ancient Nigeria, in Nigeria, you have people that speak 521 languages. All people in Nigeria did not see things the same. I always give reference to this book written by a brother named Adise Akundeyo. It's called The Chronicles of Ifa. He explains in there at one point in Nigeria, the Yoruba at one point used to sacrifice the Igbo people. This is from a Nigerian Babalawo who explains that at one time Africans used to sacrifice other African tribes. Africans always had. Hold on. Let me just say this. Let me finish. Africans always had differences. They always had. They never seen things as one. That's bullshit. That's you're romanticizing a continent with different people. If Africa had unity, we wouldn't be in the situation that we in now. Period. Unity do not allow foreigners to come in, convert you to their concepts and their ideas, and then brainwash you to overthrow another village. Evidently, you had villages going against villages already, and they went against it. That's fact. Come on, man.
I get it. You don't have to holler. I get it because you're.
I'm just passionate, brother. I'm not hollering at you. I'm just a passionate person. No.
Okay, but it sounds confusing.
Y'all got together.
It sounds confusing to me, though. Just to be clear.
All right, come on. Let's move on. Let's move the conversation on real quick. All right, where you at? Let me. Where you at, Asar? Then I got you. I see you here. I got you. Where you at, brother Asar? Man, hold on. Where you at? Where you at there, sir? Man, they keep getting on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's good, brother? What's going on?
Nothing much. Everything's good. Peace to the family on the phone, on the radio. Peace,
brother. We want to kind of move right in. We want to move kind of right into the. Your line is open there, brother Bashir. All right, line is open. Now we want to move into the aspect of was Mayat a religion? Is it a such thing as Mayatin Islam? We're going to deal with that. Definitely want to deal with that. So go ahead, Asar. I'm going to let you open the floor. And I was looking for an elder to call in and speak on the subject matter. Where are you, David? Where you at? Go ahead, Asar. Start that. To you, is Mayat a religion? From what you've seen?
In the traditional sense of the concept of religion, I would have to say no. But at the same time, you could also say that it is part of the spiritual framework of the ancient Egyptians, because that was their guiding concept and measure. But you couldn't call Ma'at a religion like you would call Islam a religion, like as they recognize the system as Ma'at. And I think primarily that's one of the departure points in relation to, I guess, we're speaking on Brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad in his concept of, a Ma'atic Islam. And in terms of the concepts, so I'm separating here that, Ma'at amongst the ancient Egyptians it's not even a concept, it's a set of concepts versus Islam, which is a cultural and religious system, with rules and practices and rituals and things of that nature. And so I want to separate that concept, and then if we are going to actually, do a comparison between the two, it would have to be between the concepts in which they represent in terms of Islam as a concept versus Ma'at as a concept. And I don't think that they are compatible, basically mainly because of the way the systems are, because the Ma'at is a system of equality in a sense. And the Islamic system is not a system of equality. And I'm speaking on equality in the terms of respecting other people's traditions and things of that nature. Like, without the taboos of worshiping other gods and things of this nature, there would be no Islam. Like, Islam only exists to be anti-other cultural and spiritual traditions. That's not the same with Ma'at. Ma'at embraces other cultural traditions, and you find all throughout the ancient Egyptian time period, over 3,000 years, that they incorporated, various different things into their tradition. Africans do this in inner Africa. Yoruba is the same way. Not all the gods among the Yoruba are Yoruba gods. Some are Akan deities, some are from Benin. And they put it together to create a system, a pantheon of a system. And this is what you find in ancient Egypt and why some of the deities overlap in concepts. You don't find this in Islam because Islam is operating under a different paradigm, which tries to exclude and compartmentalize, whereas staying true to the Ma'atin concept, it tries to equalize and level off in terms of incorporating different spiritual systems and aspects into what it appears to be a seamless narrative, so to speak, in regards to the systems. But depending on how specific your questions get, we can actually get into what is Ma'at and where does this concept or this series of concepts come from.
Okay. All right. You know what's very interesting though, when you deal with Mayat, and I heard Obango, he put it the best. He said Mayat is the understanding of things. Very damn interesting. And it makes sense. See, because if you understand things, you understand where you at and understand the nature of things around you, you might learn how to plant something. If you understand the things around you, you might learn how to deal with the plant life around you, like use it for medicine, medicinal purposes, might use it to poison certain arrows, might use it to clear some acne. You know what I'm saying? If you understand things around you, you might be able to create a math system. So it's clear, a science system. It is so clear that the Africans had something that was far, far, far superior than anything we've seen. Because I heard you ask this question about 2 years ago. I'll never forget it. You was like, give me one groundbreaking thing that you can find in the Quran, the Bible, you know what I'm saying, or the New Testament, the Old Testament, right, that if human beings wouldn't have it, right, they wouldn't be in the position they're in today. Give me one original fact, one original idea and concept, and they have no answer for that. Because there aren't any things in the Qurans, in the Torahs, in the New Old Testaments. There aren't any original ideas that if the human population didn't have it, we wouldn't be right here today. They haven't any. I can give you hundreds of ideas and concepts that if they did not have it, if Africans didn't invent it, that we as a people wouldn't be where we at today. Where you at, Bashir?
Please, I'm right here. The first thing I would like to say is I don't know the brother that was speaking about so much on Islam as if he know about Islam, but what he said was definitely incorrect. But I'm not even going to go there because we don't have the time for that right now. That's another show. Nevertheless, we
don't know about Islam.
They don't know nothing about Islam. I just heard him. I'm the authority on it. Stop, brother. Nevertheless, when we look at, the first thing we have to do is define what religion is and agree to the definition. That's the first thing. Because if we all going to have different opinions on what religion is, that's one thing. But if we could come up to a common agreement of what religion is, I think that would move us further. Second thing is after defining what religion is or how we're going to define it, we have to next define ma'at and actually what it represents. And then, of course, with ma'at, we're going to have to go to the negative confessions, and then we'll come to the answer. So my short story would be, if we look at the system in which, in particular during the New Kingdom, if we look at the system that they use to bury their people, most commonly the people with money, the pharaohs as well, but the common people as well, made sure that there were certain rituals that was done so that on judgment they will get immortality. So we understand that to be true, and I think that we all agreed to those facts a couple of weeks ago. So
agreed to what, though? I ain't say I agreed to what, though, Bashir. What is it that we agreed to a couple of weeks ago?
Well, I think that we agreed that the burial practices, particularly in the New Kingdom, were practices which rituals were used. Some may call it spells or writings were used on the sarcophagus, on the tomb itself, or on the wrappings. So understanding that there was a concept of being judged, and that is why they say, I have not committed sin, I have not committed robbery, so on and so forth, I have not stolen. These are the words that's going to be uttered. We understand that these are the words that's going to be uttered on judgment when their heart is weighed. And so this here to me, I'm not the fastest guy. I'm slow, but I ain't stopped.
Yeah, you slow.
But I ain't stopped. That's the part you forgot. But,
you ain't what? You ain't what?
I'm slow, but I haven't stopped. But nevertheless, when we look at, these things, we understand clearly that there was a concept in their mind in order for them to establish these negative confessions. And some have not, and some the 42nd negative confession, it reads, "I have not destroyed property belonging to God," to be in one translation. And also in the 38th confession, "I have not stolen that which belongs to God." So we know that the deities played an important role in their life, and we know that the Egyptians, they used those concepts to prepare them for immortality. And that in itself spells religion.
Okay.
And,
all right.
And this, go ahead.
No, I'm saying is I wish I had the button to push and clap hands for you on that. It was a good sermon, yo.
but let me start the first definition of religion.
All right, what is religion to you, yo? Say it slow.
Well, because we speak English, I'm gonna go with the English dictionary, and then I'll go with the Islamic. I'll go with the Islamic philosophy on what religion is.
You have the African philosophy on what religion is, though. That's important here.
Yeah, well, if you bring the African philosophy, you have to bring those references. But that's cool.
Oh, no, but go ahead. Go ahead. Hurry up, because I want to get 2 callers, and we're going to start letting the panel. And then, Ish, where you at, Brother Ish?
I'm right here, huh?
All right, I want you to step up after Bashir finished trying to colonize us. Go ahead, Bashir.
All right, beloved.
Go ahead.
Let me get this definition here, and then and in fact, somebody can respond while I'm looking for it.
Let me go in here. So
you just jump Ish. Can't jump Ish.
Okay, I got it. I can go now.
All right, go ahead.
This is from the Webster's dictionary, and I agree 100%. Of 1959, but nevertheless, it reads as follows. The first definition is belief in a divine or supreme human power or powers to be obeyed and worshipped as the creator or creators and ruler or rulers of the universe. Second is expression of this belief in conduct and ritual. Third is any specific system of belief, worship, conduct, etc. Often specific systems of belief, worship, conduct, etc. Often involving a code of ethics and a philosophy, as the Christian religion, the Buddhist religion, loosely any system of beliefs, practices, ethical values, etc., resembling, suggestive of, or like it to such a system. Humanizing is his religion. And 4, a state of mind or way of life expressing love for and trust in God and one's will and effort to act accordingly to the will of God, especially within a monotheistic order or community as he achieves religion. And the fifth and final definition reads, any object of conscience, regard, and pursuit as cleanliness was a religion to him. So based on this definition of what religion is, the one that I think applies in this case is a system of beliefs that is conducted, where there's a belief that is conducted and there's rituals behind it. And it represents a specific system of belief, worship, or conduct. And that is the same definition that the Quran explains as deen, meaning a way or a path that one takes or one follows, being its religion.
All right, that was a long ass. I done got lost somewhere on that. Everybody get that definition? Because that shit was. I heard belief. Let me ask you this question, Bashir. How in the hell can you build a civilization off of belief? Can you do that? Is that possible?
Of course, I think there's proof and evidence of that today. I mean,
you can build a civilization off of belief. Okay, all right. Hold on. You want to add something to that, Brother Ish?
It's hard to reason with people that come from a dogmatic, you know what I mean? They're so indoctrinated into the dogmatic belief, you know. I would ask not just, you know, my brother Bashir, but anybody, you know, who comes from that mindset, do they understand what Dr. Clark means when he would teach on a pre-God Africa? Does anyone understand that? Who comes from a religious background, what a pre-God Africa is? A pre-God Africa concept? Does anybody understand that? It's a pre-God Africa. It's a pre-God Africa. It is the belief system that was already in place for thousands and thousands and thousands of years before any of these three main religions even existed. It was this pre-God Africa, which is the reason why Dr. Clark accurately points out that there was no word for prison. There was no need for these type of things, for the old folks' homes and these type of things. There was no reason for that because it was in the totality of understanding the Creator itself that you function under. This is a pre-God concept. So you have to step outside of the box and understand what the root of it is and get out of looking through the damn white man's perspective. Get it out of your head. You ruled your entire continent and this entire planet for thousands and thousands and thousands of years before Islam, before Christianity, and before motherfucking Judaism.
Mm-hmm. I want to just add something real quick. This is, brother. Let me say this. In terms of, the situation with Ma'at and Islam or the different religions, Ma'at means truth. So you can find Ma'at in everything. I'm saying Ma'at exists within you. So you can find Ma'at in Islam. You can find it in the Bible. You can find it wherever. I'm saying it's truth. That's all Ma'at is. And religion, the definition that I have, is the service and worship of God or the supernatural. And God means the supreme reality, the being worshipped as the creator and ruler of the universe. And, that being, you can say, is Ptah from Memphis, which Dr. George E. James speaks about in Stolen Legacy in great detail. And, for instance, Brother Bashir, he brought up the different laws in Kemet in regards to it relating to the gods. You have the 42 laws of Mayat. You have, I have not stolen the God's property. I have not cursed a God. I have not harmed the bred races of God. I have not stolen half new cakes of a youth, nor have I fettered the God of my town. And also in the destruction of black civilization by Dr. Chancellor Williams, he speaks about how religion is very important to African people. So, basically the... Hold on real quick.
We got 90 seconds. Y'all call in. All right. Finish this hour off. The caller number is 347-857-2055. 347-857-2055. Go ahead.
Just to sum it up, religion is basically the service and worship of God or the supernatural. You see that in Islam, you see that in Christianity, etc. All it's describing is an action. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at it from a European lens. You don't have to look at it from a European lens. It's just an action that's being described by the definition. And by the action of what they done in Kemet, that describes a religion. Based on the definition that I have.
And let me say this with Brother Ish.
You can't jump in that quick. No, you jumped in too quick. Somebody's ready to say something. Go ahead.
Brother, he said something about me there.
All right, go ahead, Bashir.
I just wanted to respond to the brother because he was talking about, it basically was inferring that I'm thinking from a white man perspective and since I'm as the Muslim religion or Islamic religion, I have to answer this. And the first thing I have to say is, one, let it be known that in general, the white man don't like Islam. Let that be known, because a lot of times brothers leaving that out, like they don't understand that. We can clearly see through the propaganda, through the media, and what they have been doing for the last 50 years, that they have a hatred for Islam, and in fact, an undying hatred for Islam. So let's not think that the white man loves Islam. That's for one. All right. The second thing I just wanted to say is that nobody, when I asked the question thus far, my brother Ish, and I'm very disappointed in my brother, because I used a couple of references just like Brother Jesus just did, and that wasn't mentioned. When I mentioned about I have not restored the property that belongs to the God, nobody said nothing about that except Brother Jesus. So what I want to know is, are we going to deal with the information that is brought, or are we just going to sit here and just speak and talk whatever it is we feel? We should handle the direct quote and the information that is brought so that we can get some clarity on the situation.
Yeah,
I'll be happy to clarify my position on it.
Can I say something?
Answer your question.
Let Ish talk. Go ahead, Ish.
All right. Number one, Heru is incorrect by equating my art as a religion. That's number one. So I'm sure that you would buy into that concept. That's what is true. That is why to say that Kemet was practicing a form of religion is inaccurate. Number two, Islam was created for the pale Arab in order to clean them up. It was not used and created to clean up the Africans that already had the African concept of a form of Islam. It was created for the pale Arab, i.e. the white Arab. That's what Islam was created for. It was then reset back into Africans, into the key region, and that was a change of religion. That was not the original form of the religion. There is no one that can give you the original form of the religion, because when it had left, it got remixed and brought back into Africa. So that's what I mean by white man's religion. That's a concept that you can't seem to get out of your head. And again, like I said, it's not just limited to you.
That's not the subject. That's not the subject at hand. Why is my kind of religion? Can you deal with that? Can you deal with
Hold on. We're going there. Go ahead, Star. Because we got you triangulated.
Can I go out there, Star?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Star.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to, I think Brother Ish kind of went in the direction I was going, because the nature of the topic is whether Ma'at itself is the religion. And without defining Ma'at, we can't get to the core of this discussion. And for me, a person who has studied Ma'at quite intensively, I can say that Ma'at is not one thing. It is a catchphrase for various different terms. The one in which many people, give the definition for balance, reciprocity, things of that nature, justice, righteousness, it actually comes from a more mundane root. People pronounce the word Ma'at, but that's not originally how it was first pronounced. It was first pronounced something like Mala or Male. When you write down the word Ma'at, you write it down as a M, as in Mary, and I'm using the Egyptologist transcription method. So you use M as in, Mary. You put a capital A after the M. Then you put a lowercase a after the capital A. You put a dot, then you put a T. That T is a feminine suffix. That's really not a part of the original root. That what they put as an A is actually an L sound, as in Larry or Lester. And we can go through, dozens upon dozens of comparative terms for this to demonstrate that, the bird that represents this capital A sound was originally an L. So you would say Mala. In the Siluba language, you would say Malelela. They double the L. They say Malelela. They don't say Ma'at or something to that nature. It's Malelela. And this Ela is very important because the word Ela is the same word, the same root where you get the word Allah from. It is a term dealing with anything that deals with projection or something that projects from a central point. And this is where you get the variation of the word Ma'at dealing with, because the M is just a prefix. It's an old Niger-Congo prefix that was lexicalized or fossilized in the ancient Egyptian language. And this root Ella, it means to measure. It means, in this one instance, it means to measure. It means to, this is where, going back, I forgot who actually read the statement, talking about Ma'at dealing with knowing something, because this is how they talked about knowing. This is you measure, you study, you calculate, and the way that you do that, if you're measuring something, you pick a point and then you go forward and measure the steps before it. So this is where this projection coming from a point comes from. It's the same root where you get the word for ro and the word medu from, dealing with speech, anything that projects, the sound that projects from the mouth. I deal with this in a couple of articles. I could post the links later. But dealing with this, it is when we're talking about measurements and equal, and this is where you get there's a different root that deals with seeing, and this is when you get with Ma'at dealing with judgment, because judgment deals with seeing. It's a catchphrase for a whole bunch of different terms, and we translate it as it means all of these different things, but these are separate words. When we're talking about Ma'at as a concept, it is more so like when we're talking about reciprocity. It's basically equivalent to the Indian concept of karma, or the hermeneutic concept of the hermetic law of swing or rhythm or something to this nature, to where the energy projecting in one direction is the same amount of energy that will be projected coming back on its swing in the other direction. And this is where you get balance and equality and things of this nature from. It is like if you're saying 2 + 2 = 4, Ma'at will be represented by the equal sign. That is what the balance is in the universe. This is not a religious thing. It's a mathematical. It is a scientific concept. It's different from the concept of Allah, of Islam, so to speak, which is a spiritual tradition of submission, saying, quote unquote, to the will of the Creator. And what they believe are the laws, as set down, or the rules set down in the actual, the Quran. What they're dealing with, the ancient Egyptians are dealing with, are just universal laws. It's like gravity. So it's kind of a misrepresentation to be like, for instance, that, the spiritual system of the ancient Egyptians was called gravity, or more so, since we're dealing with equality and something to this nature, you would actually equate Ma'at more so to the law of conservation of energy. That's the principle that, Ma'at is, to the ancient Egyptians. And this is why in the ancient Egyptian records, it says that Ma'at gave birth to Ra. Ma'at was in the substance with the Nun before there was any activity. Ma'at is what gave birth to the gods and goddesses, because Ma'at is the law. This is what Ma'at is, and so you can't change the law. You can't worship the law. This is just if you're talking about the pictorial of her, the woman with the wings and things. These are just an anthropomorphic conceptualization of the laws of the universe, which is why in the Pertem Heru, she represents the balance, the judgment, because she's the law. You judge everything based upon the law. You measure and we're getting back to this concept of measure of everything against the laws of the universe. And so this is a totally different concept than what you get when we talk about Islam. And so this is not a religious tradition. If there was a religious tradition, as we understand religious traditions, I equate the religious tradition under the concept of Khepr. And Khepr is the spiritual tradition that is most dominant on the African continent. Khepr is just one pronunciation of it. We know it in Yoruba as Ifa. We know it in the Dogon system is Pele. In the Congo, it is Kepwepula. Amongst the Zulu, it is they say Mteto Mwe Mvuelo. That Vuelo is that same. It's the same root as the word Khepr. K is the old Niger-Congo prefix. The root is PR, and this is talking about evolution, the science of change. This is all the Africans deal with, and they deal with this scientifically versus the way that we would understand religion today. And I think this is, what a lot of the callers earlier are talking about. We have to understand, these things from an African paradigm versus a European, because they'll have you thinking that, we're sitting here, worshiping rocks and things of this nature. It's a totally different concept in Africa because they're dealing with science. All these terms that we talk about amongst the ancient Egyptians all boil down to scientific concepts and terms, which they anthropomorphized because they didn't have dictionaries, they didn't have thesauruses. This is the way that they defined their concepts. They put them into myth so you can understand the major aspects of the story, which help define these characters. And so, there's a whole bunch more we can say on it, but just want to throw that out for dialogue.
Okay.
And, we can move forward from there.
All right. We'll get some callers.
All right. I'm in agreement with that explanation. I'm in agreement.
All right, go ahead. What would you say, Ish? What'd you say, Ish?
I said I'm in agreement with that explanation. He did one.
Oh yeah, you ain't lying. I need to see that in writing, Asar.
Can I say something after you take this call?
I have some of what he said in writing. I do have some of that in writing. He explained it excellent, but I do have that.
Yeah, he sure did. I think the people need to see that and read that. That's some extra shit. I appreciate that, Asar. Go ahead. Let me take the call. Then you next and go.
Then let me post it up before we go to the next question. Then let me just post it up.
Oh, all right, yeah, post it up. Go ahead.
All right, we have the link right here. It's the Oxford Companion to World Mythology by David Adams Lennon. We look at him from Ma'at, and it states here on the coffin text, Ma'at also seems to personify Pharaoh's hell, small models of Ma'at that signify their association with her attributes. Ma'at gives breath itself, life, to the king, and so depicted the symbol of life, the Ankh, to their noses. Ma'at represents the proper relationship between the cosmic and the earthly, the divine and the human, the earth, the heavens, and the underworld. And she who personifies the meaningful order of life as opposed to the anthropic chaos into which it might easily fall. In some stories, it is the sun god Re who displaces chaos with Ma'at. When a person died, his heart is weighed against Ma'at's feather. A heart heavy with sin would not join the god. So Ma'at is the whole cosmic African order itself. It is not a belief. It is to know that.
Knowing system of science.
Yes,
go ahead. No, you can't jump because Ngozi was next. Hold on, let me get this caller real quick. 267, your line is open, Black African Power.
Yeah, what's going on, brother? This is Brother James 16X calling from Philadelphia.
What's up, brother? How you doing, Black African Power?
A.K.A. Yaqub Ali.
What up, Yaqub? What's good?
Yeah, what's going on? I'm just listening to the show. Yeah, this is the Amin Raj show that I'm used to. The one I like. Y'all was going at it, and I like the first segment. That was a very interesting topic.
Putting this shit together.
Pertaining to this subject, I think it's like what Brother Ansar was saying.
Asar.
Asar, my bad. I think to say that, Mayat is a religion, I think it's the other way around. Mayat, religion, Mayat has religion in it, but it's not religion in its totality. Like somebody was saying that, the understanding of things, or like, the study of things, like, to understand certain aspects of plant life, you would have to sit down and study and analyze it to see its function. So that's the aspect of Mayat, or like you said, the understanding of things. So does Mayat have aspects of religion in it? Yes. Now we could use that to say that, well, in that case, it could be some type of agreement based on that. But to say that religion in its entirety is Mayat, I don't think that compasses the whole capacity of Mayat. I think Mayat surpasses religion as we see it today. Is more so on the aspect of just everything is everything, or certain like what you said, certain concepts of like karma, like he was like what the brother was saying earlier. Like this you're talking about totality, not something that has been given to man to practice, but something that's even greater than that. That was my eye, and that's how I think that's how they seen things. The ancients seen things. So that's just my comment.
Okay.
Brother Yakub.
Yeah.
Does this sound accurate to you? If you have a beautiful son or if you have a beautiful daughter, and everywhere that you went, somebody would look at your daughter and say, or somebody would look at you and say, man, you look just like your daughter. Does that sound normal to you? If somebody saw you and said, man, you look just like your son. Does that sound normal to you, or does that sound backwards to you?
Yeah, I heard people say that before, but that's backwards. You know what I mean? Because I even sometimes say that.
So
like when I, for example, if I meet
religion,
a girl first, and then I see her mom, I say, your mom looks just like you. You know what I mean? Because I met the girl first, and when I see it, but it's really backwards. That's really backwards.
It's really backwards. Right.
Right.
So when you say that, my aunt has some religion in it, that's backwards. Because my aunt predates it chronologically. These religions weren't around when my aunt was around. So to say that my aunt has some religion in it, that's backwards. You're now saying that
I was saying that in context. Listen what I'm saying. I was saying that in context that
I heard what you said.
There are aspects of religion in Mayat.
How?
I know.
How though?
Right. There are aspects.
How?
I think Brother Bashir touched on it.
Can I say something?
I think Brother Bashir touched on it, like, far as with the negative confessions. All that is aspects of...
Nah, he ain't touch on nothing. He looked at it like a white boy on that one. Go ahead, and then who else want to get in the
What I want
to take this other caller. Hold on.
What I want to say is that, there's I want to be clear on this concept of Ma'at. Remember, Ma'at deals with laws. And, what people are equating as religion seems to be more so the ritual aspect of it. Ritual is just the techniques that you use to have the laws work for you in a certain, for a certain purpose or goal. And this is why I say, when I'm dealing with the concept of religion, I'm going back to the root of the word, re and legare. And, the word means to bind back, to yoke again. And this is why I say that, this concept is incompatible with Ma'at and just African religions in general, because there's never a separation. There's no concept between there's the creator over there and then there's creation over here. You are the creator manifesting yourself. You can't bind back and yoke to something that you were never separated from. And this is what this is what Ma'at deals with. Ma'at is an infinite concept of laws. You're never separated from it, which is why, when you read the Egyptian text, talking about Ma'at was in the Nun. If you know what the Nun is, it is the primordial substance or whatnot. But these laws were pregnable within the Nun. And it was that aspect of Ra, or the sun, or the light, or whatnot, that activated the laws, or put the laws into motion. And this is, the concept of lines. But these things are different. So we have to be able to distinguish, between the goal and the concept of the tradition to the actual rituals, because you can't change the laws. It's just like me trying to say I'm going to change the law of gravity. You can't change the law. I only use the law of gravity to work for me. If I want to build planes or build buildings or things of this nature, I use the laws, to do. This is all science stuff. This isn't religion in the way that, the Abrahamic traditions understand religion. But I'm sorry, but y'all continue.
Can I say that now?
Let me.
Hold on. Wait, Ish, you ain't said much. Go ahead, get that in. Then whoever after this, go ahead, Ish.
I thought you said that Goldie was next.
All right, go ahead, then, Goldie. Come on.
Oh, I just want to say that Ma'at started off as 7 principles, or the law, like Brother Masar was saying. It started off as that. It was never a religion. But when they started saying, I have not did this, I have not did that, this is just like the constitutional laws of America. That was created for political reasons. When you say, I have not stolen from the king, what does the king have to do with you living and you're dying, or you not stealing from him? What does that have to do with you? That was created for political reasons. Earlier in early dynasties, it was the way. Ma'at is just like the Tao in China, which is the way, or the Dharma in India, which means harmony, order, and justice. In the beginning, Ma'at was balance, order, righteous, justice, harmony, truth, and reciprocity. That's what it started off as. Later on, it became incorrect. Later on, it became constitutional laws. Anytime you saying I have not did this, I have not did that, that's law that you use, that you create to keep the people in that society in order to stop them from acting certain ways. Period. Let me just say this. Now that the Africans practice traditional systems that were similar to Lincoln, like for example, if you get the book Water and Spirit, Africans wake up at a certain time to do the same thing in certain countries every day. And if they're linking back to doing the same thing and doing rituals or reciting it, that's a religion. Like if I play basketball every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then somebody asks me, "Hey, you play ball?" You're gonna say, "I play ball religiously." That's something that you do every day consistently. The Egyptians practiced something called Shetat Neter. They did rituals. I even got in African philosophy when Yosemite Septim Ra Ramesses was praying to Amun Ra. So they did believe in something that was supernatural because he was praying to Amun Ra. Why are you praying to Amun Ra? If you're not traditional, if you're not dealing with tradition, he was praying to Amun Ra. That's my thing. That's just real.
Let me explain to you where you're in error because you're flowing on and you're starting off at a false basis.
How?
Right. First of all, Ma'at at its core, at the beginning, all it means is truth. The other principles were added on and later on to clarify what it means. But at its core, Ma'at means truth.
Who told you that?
That's it.
Who told you that? Because I talked to plenty of Africans. Who told you that? I just want to know who told you that.
Dr. Ben says that, and I've been to Africa.
Oh, well, that's Dr. Ben, but I know plenty of Africans. I know plenty of Africans as well. I was initiated in a Dogon priesthood. Well, you've been there, and a lot of them just as fucked up as we are over here. So you being over there, they gonna lie to you too. They gonna lie to you too.
You can't brush off Dr. Ben like that.
Dr. Ben made up stuff. What I'm saying, brother, is the realest. Dr. Ben made up stuff too. Some stuff he said wasn't even truthful. Some stuff he made up, like when he said the Hebrews was black. That was made up.
Hey, Goldie, hold on for a minute. Dr. Ben didn't say that. As a matter of fact, I'll send you a tape. It's called Dr. Ben and Religion, right? And they asked him the same question. What about the original black Hebrews? Dr. Ben was like, what? Ham, I ain't said nothing about Hebrews. He said, that's our little lie. He said, well, Dr. Ben, what about the book you wrote, the black? He said, man, I was finished with that book before I started writing it. I mean,
okay, he said in the past, though. He changed up later on. He changed up later on, but he said in the past.
It's a black man of the Nile. That black man of the Nile is up in it.
He learned.
He changed it up later on. Come on, man,
just call him real
it's
quick.
in the books.
Real fast. Hold on, real fast. Let me get this thing. Y'all missed the whole thing. Damn, that's like if you listen to Malachi York and think he came from Rich. You missed the whole goddamn thing. 111, your line is open. 111, your line is open.
Peace, brother. This brother Kufu. I got a few questions. How you doing?
What's up, brother? Black African Power.
Peace. For the people who saying Ma'at is like a religion, I want to know, do they have any references, any sources showing that Ma'at was forced on any other people, like Christianity was forced and Islam was forced on other people in order to grow as a religious community? Do you have any references based on that?
Yeah. Ma'at is the daughter of Ra, and when you look into the I know it's Budge's Legends of the Gods. I know there's a legend in there, or a creation that speaks about Ra, bringing forth Ma'at into existence. I know Brother he knows that text very good. That whole Kepara, coming into being point. So when you talk about Ma'at is Ma'at is a goddess, actually associated with the deity. That's a daughter of Ra right there, like, you know what I'm saying? So Ma'at is definitely, associated with religion. And outside of it, you can say if it's truth, you can say it's not religion. That's understood. It's a duality to Ma'at. So it's two sides, but I accept what brothers say when they say Ma'at is not I accept that when you coming from, it matters what area you coming from. I accept it when you say in the sense of truth, that's peace. But when it comes to other areas of Kemet, such as, the system, the government, that's considered to be Ma'at. The government is considered to be Ma'at. And when you look into the text, it says, I have not stolen the God's property. That was something that you wasn't supposed to do. So if you stole the God's property, you violated.
What text is that found in?
Oh, that's the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the Per Em Heru, and that's the translation by Raymond Oliver Faulkner. That's his translation.
What we call
it's on plate 31.
What we call it?
It's plate 31.
Which papyrus? What's the papyrus?
No, yeah, what's the fact? But what I'm saying is, what's the writing called? They call that writing.
The writing?
Yeah, what do they call it?
Well, it's called the Declarations of Innocence. The Declaration of Innocence.
No. What do they call the actual writing? The Greeks call the hieroglyphics, right?
All right, meta-netra.
Now let's get a definitive definition of what meta-netra is. Okay? That might help. Medu means science or law. Neta is the cause, right, or activator. So look at it like that. I'm going to say it again. Medu would be science, right, or law, okay, and Neta would be the cause. What causes things, or the activator of things. So what was the science, right, and what was the cause when you reading these things? Okay? Hey, excuse me, Synthetic, can you call Brother Saw's phone up? You got his number?
Yeah. Let me say this.
Hold on one second. You hear me, Synthetic?
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you. I'm just waiting for everybody to get their piece in, so I can.
No, I'm saying, can you call us all real fast?
Yeah, I'll call him.
I was let me just say. Let me say this. It's I understand where you're coming from with the concept. I understand where you're coming from when you talk about the area that deals with science. When you build on Ma'at and the cosmos, I know where you coming from with it, but one must also understand that it's a religious side to it. It's a religious side to it. We shouldn't forget that.
Did you hear what? Did you listen to what? It said though, it was amazing how he put that shit though. That was some. He used the African teaching tool right there. He really did.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
Yeah, I swear, yo, you got to get that. He fucked me up with that one. I got to get that one in my vernacular. That was a good one. I'm telling you, I'm gonna go back and listen. That was a good one. You try that for a minute, okay?
They don't get it. They don't get it. They're not receptive.
That's the goddess.
All right.
Let me mention a couple of things that brother asked.
Hold on. Listen, Jetty go. Then you go in.
Okay. Hold on. What was the last point? Because I clicked over to let us sorry. What was the last thing said?
There was no point. I strictly gave a meaning for meta-netra, meaning science and cause.
All right. Okay. First off, I think people really should consult and get the definition and meaning of what Ma'at will be from people who actually study it and use it as an actual concept in their life, rather than I want to read something on the Egyptian Book of the Dead, right? Not a pun on you, Harold. And think that I know what that think it's a religion. I think that, you know, like Bashir, for example, I think that, you know, like if I want to know about Islam or any details about it, I might ask you. But since I'm on the phone, or someone like Asar is on the phone, if I've been using the concept for, let's say, 12 years, which I have, if I tell you it's one thing, and then you read the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is determined completely wrong anyway, and you try to tell me what it is or define it for me, you're coming from an outside reference. I'm giving you inside reference. You know what I'm saying? So if I tell you it's not a religion, my reference is dealing with the etymological meaning of the word religion to link that, I'm not using the connotation or these later definitions that people come up with. Webster, for example, you know what I'm saying, a racist, by the way. That's Webster, okay? Ma'at predates Webster, predates Oxford, all of that. So if I'm using the concept that predates even Islam, and I tell you this is what Ma'at is, how can you effectively refute that? And that goes to anybody, okay? We're telling you, as people who use traditional African religions, or quote-unquote what they call traditional African religion, or spiritual tradition, it's not a religion. Webster defines it as religion, okay? We use something that predates Webster. Because, again, Ma'at represents that which is true, something indeed or verily, okay? Law, reality. That's what the word means. That's the root of it. And if you actually read the glyph, the actual glyph that comprise the word, more people will actually understand that, because the meaning is right there in front of you. But for those who only read Webster or Oxford or English, that's all you're going to get. Oh, it's a religion. But if you actually read the text or really know how to read it, you get a different mindset. When you come from the African standpoint, you'll say no. But if you come from Webster, a European, you're going to say yes. So then it's a question of what foundation are you standing on in order to make this judgment? And because I do rituals, see, the old kingdom rituals were different than the new kingdom rituals in ancient kingdom. So by the definition of Webster, they're practicing different religions. But they're all used Ma'at. Was Ma'at a religion? No. Because there was different rituals in different locales. But everybody was using this concept. And in the future, if you want a description of those any separate rituals, I'm glad to explain it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So where you at, brother Sal? You finished?
What'd you say?
Where you at, Sal?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Now, when we were trying to define what meta-nature was, and I said it was science, law, cause. Yeah, what was that? Somebody got a hold of me on his mind. What? All right, go ahead.
Meta-nature can be the cause or the science of primordial causes. Mm-hmm. And Medu is a word across Africa. It's either pronounced Malu, Madu, or Boalu. The L turns into D, in retroflex in other different languages. In E5, the old Niger Congo, M is dropped, and it's just simply known as Odu. And this word Odu, Malu, Madu, it's just a word that means history. It's a word that means words or speech. It means laws, and it means science. And again, the root of that word is that same root where the word ma'at comes from, where we get the concept of truth, measurement, and this is where the whole concept of science and stuff comes from, calculation, coming from the suggestion point. I did an article on the word netter, And the word netter itself, again, deals with primordial causes. It deals with they actually derive from the same root, the same L root, just with different prefixes to it. So Medu has the M prefix, and netter has the T prefix, which has another prefix, which is the N, which is a possessor of. It's a word. It's actually a word. Means possessor. But when you're dealing with meta-nature in simple, I could post my article.
Post that.
Gotta find it real quick.
Okay.
On this topic, and you can examine my linguistic connections. This is draft. This is actually a draft copy for a submission for the Journal of African Studies. But it's called,
there's that word again. There's that word again. Journal. Ha. Why use a journal, sir? Why use a journal, sir?
Well, journals are peer reviewed, and peer reviewed means that people in the field examine, your ideas or your work, and they critique it, so you can iron out any kinks in things and be able to defend your thesis that is in the paper. And then if it meets the satisfaction of the committee that's reviewing your work, then it gets published in a journal. So a journal is a place where you can get, up-to-date studies on whatever the field of knowledge is. So it's different from like a general book, because a book, sometimes a book will take several years, to write. And so you have to have some information in between those books, for which you can get the latest, short grab, knowledge on whatever the subject is, of the particular journal, whether it's a science, history, sociology journal, whatever to that nature. But I'm putting it in. It's not published on my website, but it is on my server. So if you are in the chat room, I'm putting it up in there now, and you'll see my comparative data where I demonstrate that this word netter. People think they have the idea of netter. Netter, again, I should preface this: when you're dealing with African concepts that are major concepts, 9 times out of 10 they're really catchphrases for several different concepts that may be related linguistically, or they may be homonyms that they've decided to see a connection with. And netter is one of those different things. Netter has to deal with the production of something. It is the point from which something is generated. That's why I say the causal agents. That's what a netter is. And whatever a tree is, whatever that essence is that caused the concept of tree, or those concepts, that is netter. But then there's also netter associated with human beings. That's a totally different word. That word is, like if we comparing it in the Siluba Bantu language, it's the word intalu, and it means excellence. And so, an elder, a scientist, a teacher or whatnot, they're supposed to be the personifications of excellence. And that's in that same word netter comes in. So I explained all of that in this article, and in my upcoming book, I'm doing an article solely dedicated to the word netter. This article that I'm posting here is really in a different context. So even what I put in here is in passing, but it's important to the whole document itself. But there you can see, what this term means, and you'll see that root word that I'm talking about and what it means, because that word means divine law, command, speech. That word ilah, but it comes from a different root, and all sorts of words come from it, even the word God and that word Allah and things of that nature. But that's a different discussion. But I don't want to wrap. But hopefully y'all see it. It's in the chat.
To go to the question, and I forgot all of the brother questions, but nevertheless, he was asking why am I saying that it was a religion. Now, and that the Egyptians practiced religion. Now, if we look at
how do you do that though, Bashir? How do you do that when Mayat predates
I'm on my way to that right now, brother. Just be patient.
Yeah, how do you manage that?
When you look at the glyphs, you look at them, you can clearly see.
You read Metanetia now, yo?
Hold on. Wait a second.
Look at the glyph, boy. I tell you.
I don't read it.
Oh my God.
But like I said, I'm slow, but I ain't stopped, fellas.
Look at the glyph. I'm gonna get me a Quran in Arabic, yo, and tell you to look at the goddamn. Look at the. Go ahead. I'm fucking with you. Go ahead.
But now, you can clearly see on the glyphs. You could an example is Akhenaten and Nefertiti and one of their daughters. They're paying homage to their guy Aten. You can clearly see that there was rituals where homage was being paid to the guys, for one. For two,
look at that. Did you put it in the chat room?
Is he talking about my question?
Hold on.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
My question was if Ma'at was a religion, do you got any references where Ma'at being termed a god forcing people to convert to that ideology? Wars being fought because Islam and Christianity are based on the religion grow out of converting people through war and through death and through punishment. And when you say that they're worshiping the sun, their God, 99.85% of this reality is created from the plasma of the sun. So they just connecting what it really is.
All right, so I hope that I can get my 3 minutes of fame like the rest of you, so I can finish.
Go ahead, Yoga. You read Metanetia now. Go ahead.
I'm gonna answer your question.
Go ahead, because I'm about to checkmate y'all real quick. But you go ahead.
You can check it, brother. But I'm gonna go find the information that we talking about, and that's what I do.
Yeah, go ahead. I know, man. You ain't found that.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. We can see that they paid homage to the guys clearly. We also can see going in the negative professions, which no one still didn't respond to the statement, I have not cursed God, I have not destroyed the property belonging to God, I have not stolen that which belongs to God, so on and so forth. Nobody even touched those words on what those negative professions said. So now the next thing I want to say is that the second part, the second thing, and then I'm going to my last thing, all right? I got 3 things. I'm on the second. Now the second thing is when you read the Anani's or Annie's, I think it's pronounced Annie's script, we can see that they had beliefs in the afterlife, and they believe that, their heart will be weighed against the feather. And the testifying of those negative confessions was to be pronounced there, and then Osiris, I believe, will lead them into the afterlife behind, and Ma'at is behind Osiris, I believe. I could be incorrect, but I think you get the gist of it. But I want to go to a couple of the scholars that you mentioned, particularly the brother that asked the question in regards to Christianity and Islam forcing themselves on people to make them convert. First of all, that's incorrect because the Holy Quran says, which means there's no compulsion in religion. That is in the Holy Quran, which means you cannot force no one into the religion. Now, Sheikh Ed-Tadiyah from Pre-Colonial Black Africa, page 163, and I'm going to give you a couple of...
You read that before, man. You ain't read the whole thing. Read the whole thing while you read it.
I don't care. Obviously, my brother ain't here. Yeah, you don't want it out there, but it's going to come out.
No, whoa. What you did was you cut and pasted. If you're going to read both pages, don't play. That's the point I'm making, because you cut and paste. You did that thing people read the Bible do.
Let the people decide that.
Man,
now, on Pre-Colonial Black Africa, page 163, and I'm going to give a couple more references. He says...
No, you're not. Hurry up.
The primary reason for the success of Islam in Black Africa, with one exception, consequently stems from the fact that it was promulgated peacefully, at first by solitary robot Berbers, travelers to certain black kings and notables, who then spread it about them to those under their jurisdiction. What is to be emphasized here is that there was a peaceful nature, that this is my word, that is to emphasize that there was a peaceful nature there. Also on page 166,
he said at first. What happened for that, though?
Hold on a second. He goes and says, African religions, more or less forgotten, were in the process of atrophying, which means dying, and being empty of their spiritual content. Their former deep metaphysics, the jumble of empty forms they had left behind, could not compete with Islam on the moral or rational level. And it was on that latter level of rationality that the victory of Islam was most striking. That was the fourth stage of its success. Now,
can we respond to that, though, Bashir? Seriously.
Yeah. He's reading for a moment. Can I ask a quick question right quick?
Yeah, you're going long.
Then I'm next.
Okay. All right. I just want to know, do you or don't you deny the video that I just posted up about the children in the Sudan being whipped across the back to follow Islam in the Quran? The name of the video is Islamic School Abusing and Kidnapping Kids of Christian Faith. Do you deny that these African Sudan children are being compelled to follow Islam, whipping them across their back, reading the Holy Quran and Islam? And do you have that same history with my eye, brother?
Okay. This is a two-part question, so I'm going to answer this. When it comes to, brother, would you let me speak, man? You don't know what I'm saying yet. There's a two-part question. Now, the first part
do you deny the video, yes or no?
Brother, let me answer the question. In the Sudan,
that's a yes or no question. Do you deny this video? Has this video been altered in any way,
I've
shape,
seen
or
the
form?
video, and I've done further studies on that, brother, further research. Now, let me get my point across. Now, the point is, in the Sudan, you do have this going on. But the first thing is, this is black.
So that would be a yes.
These are black folks doing that to black folks. That's not no parent doing it. If you're watching the video clearly and you're doing your research and with the
John DeWeed.
I mean, you want to
call me John DeWeed, yo.
Yo, it's a part two,
now,
man.
Let me answer the second part.
It ain't that good. This wasn't a good one, man. This wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good one. It's mad information.
Okay, I'm next.
I don't want to. You know, let me just say this. In terms of, you know, the situation with my yacht, if dudes want to get into, you know, semantics with the English language and the Western language and act like they don't
Can you define semantics for us, please?
You know, in English. I'm saying that.
Can you define that? What semantics is?
Come on, it's like.
People just use
Are you denying the video, Heru? Are you saying is this video accurate?
I'm not talking about the video. I'm not even talking about the video. I'm just talking about in general with my eye. I ain't talking about the video. But you asking me can I define semantics? No, I don't got the definition on that, man. But it's more like yapping your mouth and trying to, you know, get away from the point. That's my science on it. But regardless,
that's not semantics.
No, yo, look, on plate 4.
Who's doing that?
No, wait, yo, on plate 4, right? Plate 4.
I'm just saying, who's doing that? Who's yapping their mouth to get away from the point?
I'm saying dudes trying to do that when it comes to my yacht. When it comes to my own.
Now, on this show, what dudes are doing that? You got Osar, you got Ish, you got Ngo, you got Jetty. So Jetty's yapping his mouth.
Don't even bring up Ngozi. Don't bring up Ngozi. Don't do it. Jetty tried it. And Asar tried. And it
hold on. Let's establish that. So both of them are yapping their mouth because that's your definition. So they yapping their mouth on unfoundedness. Okay?
Come on, I'm not saying it in that sense.
You said it. So what's the definition you're using?
I'm saying like you more trying to move away from the point.
I'm not.
That's what I mean by like semantics.
Hold on, that's not semantics moving away from a point.
Look at that shit. That tactic that you're trying is not going to work.
I'm not trying to tactic.
Yes, you are trying to tactic because you're trying to catch niggas in
yelling.
Come on, son. That shit ain't gonna work.
Hold on, stop yelling. Stop yelling, y'all. I didn't yell it.
I'm not yelling.
Right.
I'm outside, so I'm kind of
relax
my voice. You know what I mean?
Relax.
I'm definitely
relaxed. Have a whole show to finish this one. Relax.
Okay. All right. Is that right?
Yeah, we definitely got a part two. Man.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It wasn't right like that. Niggas ain't proof shit like that.
Niggas ain't proof shit like that.
Not in regards to the religion shit. Like that shit is it's not debatable like that.
Hey, we just getting started, nigga.
Come on. Are we done with the childness?
Can I answer the question?
Are we done with the childness? With the child play here? Come on, man.
Enslaved people.
Hold on. Wait. I'm listening to y'all.
Man, y'all ain't enslaved nobody.
I'm listening to
y'all.
Hold up. Let me give my reference, man. So you stop playing.
Go ahead, man. Give your reference.
First of all, we know for a fact that the Egyptians, they went to war with the Nubians or Nubi people. And not only did they go to war, they both conquered one another, and there's proof of that today. From the Stellar of Kings, what is it? How you say
What? Can't hear you, but shit, we're gonna make you the resident Egyptologist, yo. From this point on.
All right. So in other words, do you have a reference of somebody enslaving people in the name of Ma'at? Can anybody produce a reference on that?
I wanna ask a question, and anybody can answer this. Again, getting back on topic. Is there anywhere in the ancient Egyptian text where they called their spiritual system Ma'at?
Nope.
I'll tell you, nope. It's not there.
If it's not there, we can't call their religion Ma'at. That's an equation that Dr. Wesley Muhammad made, not the ancient Egyptians. They call their system.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand.
Okay. Let me
I have not stolen the God's property. I have not cursed the God.
Okay.
I have not stolen the heavenly cakes up of you. That deals with my aunt. So I think that's the
hold on.
Where it's coming from when you talk about religion.
Wait a minute. You just can't just run in cutting off people. We've been doing good. Relax,
but
man.
he asked the question.
No, relax. You just start spooting off shit. Relax. You don't even know if that's translated right. Come on, son.
So the translation, all right.
It might not be right.
That's going to be the next thing, the translation.
Yeah, that's the next thing, because we breaking all this all the way down. Yeah, we're breaking it all the way down till we can understand what's going on. Go ahead, Sal.
I mean, I just asked the question because, I mean, it's the same question that was raised against Dr. Wesley Muhammad when he argues for pre-Muhammad Islam. Did the system, did they call their system Islam? It's one thing to have some practices, some rituals, amongst an ancient people, but it's a different thing to call the system itself, Islam. The same thing with Ma'at. Did they call their system? Is there any kind of evidence that they call the system which their spiritual traditions was it called Ma'at? If they didn't call it that, do we have grounds to equate that as its religion? How do we not know that it's religion? Why would we choose Ma'at versus the god Jehuti or some other principle that the ancient Egyptians have? And these are the kinds of questions that you need to ask. Why do you discriminate this one concept versus another, which is, of equal prominence and things of this nature? So these are the kinds of questions that I raise, that as a researcher I would raise in trying to see that the ancient Egyptians call their system Ma'at, and if they didn't, with the person who's equating this, admit that this is their association and not necessarily the ancient Egyptian, like I'm doing with the word Kepperer. I'm not saying that the ancient Egyptians called their spiritual tradition that. I'm saying that their focus in terms of their spiritual studies was Kepper. And when I compare it to the systems across the continent of Africa, this seems to be the focus of the ancient peoples and their spiritual traditions under this name, under this rubric, still exists today. And so, I'm careful with how I word this, and and not equating like this is their religion. They call their religion Kefir. And so this is again, this is just what I want to ask and project and put into people's minds when they're approaching this particular question. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think this brother Daku. I think brother Asar he already settled the argument. I think he broke down how like what he's saying, like the Kefir, that would be the religious aspect. But like so it shouldn't even be that's settled. I mean, my approach on the whole thing is that those elements like what Brother Bashir was talking about does exist. What we call religion, like when we gave the definition of religion, what we call religion today, those elements did exist in ancient Egypt, and those people did practice those elements. That's the approach that I'm on. So we call it religion, so we would say, well, those are religious practices, whatever, So, but Mayat itself, I think it surpasses religion. It's much more broader than religion. But were these people religious people as how we see it today? Or were these people religious people as how we see it today? I would say yes, because they had rituals that they practiced, like what Brother Ishmael was saying. They had things that they did ritualistically, and that would be religiously, like he was saying. So that was already settled based on all the statements.
It's just the English language. The English language becomes a part. It's just the English language. That's all we use.
Saying my eye is like a religion. It's like
Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Chancellor Williams, taught us in English. You know what I'm saying? I know they teach us in metaphysics.
Hold on.
Okay. Let
me jump. I ain't said nothing last hour. Hold on for a minute. We got 10 minutes left.
We got 5 minutes left. Okay. Listen to all these. Everybody talk. Quiet. All right. Look. As somebody who utilizes this concept called Ma'at, okay, and a person that actually reads the text, even without English, I don't equate it with religion, okay? I practiced religion, Christianity, when I was young, and the two are not the same. So that puts a cap on it. So these other definitions that everybody that the brothers coming up with from Webster or whatever, that's y'all. That's what you're doing from an outside perspective, not an inside perspective. That puts a cap on that.
All right, look. Check this out. We're going to do this. We're going to get this over with real fast. How much time left in here?
5 minutes.
Y'all lie here a lot of. It's 1 minute. Watch this in 1 minute. 1 minute, right? I just put this in the chat. I put that in. I'm going to do it one more time in the chat room, right? Deal with this article right here. Appreciate the information too, Asar. That document right there is dealing with, this is the first 3 lines of the celestial sphere and its definition components. Well, it's dealing with the celestial sphere in ancient Egypt. And it talks about the book of coming forth by day and by night, and it's dealing with the celestial sphere and the introductory hymn, God Ra, okay? And it demonstrates in the first line, right, it praises Ra when rising in the eastern horizon of the sky by Osiris, right? It say describe the divine offerings and all his God and need. Okay, now, a couple of lines, I'm not finished reading the lines, right? You look at the article, these first couple of lines is dealing with the celestial sphere in ancient Egypt. You read it with your European mindset and guilty of slavery, you think it's talking about somebody praying to the God Ra. As demonstrated by this article, it's clearly talking about the celestial sphere. That's called Check the Fuck Mate. If you got more information and some references and resources, put it in that bitch. Because right there, read the original. Hold on, read the original. It's right